Cool. What's up, everybody? Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for the nightly edition of the Tattoo Collecting Podcast, hosted by Fawn Baker and Jordan Rookus. Tonight, believe it or not, is episode number 79. Tattooers and collectors, this show is a great resource for you to talk and educate yourself about tattoo collecting, art, and aliens, tech, and much more. We're beaming out to several different places, so if you guys are watching, just tag a friend in the chat or share where you're watching from. We always like to see that. And positive reviews and comments are always welcome. All of these Reinventing Network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, and webinars can be watched anytime at reinventing247.com, as well as you guys can find us now on our new Roku channel. We have several weekly shows and drawing groups that you guys are welcome to tune into, or for certain events, you can hop on this call with us too. It's really easy. You can also set reminders for upcoming events on our YouTube channel and catch us live on Sundays at 1 p.m. We've got Jason Leeser's Skill Building Sundays. It's a great show to bring something you're working on, or if you have questions about a design, you can get an honest answer in a judgment-free zone. Also, Monday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern is a Tattoo Weekly, hosted by myself, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Monday evenings at 9 p.m. is the Evolution class led by Guy Aitchison. The first trimester is underway. We'll be kicking off the second trimester towards the beginning of June. Head over to classrooms.reinventingthetattoo.com to find out more, to check out our new learning platform. Tuesday mornings, we have Ricardo Sturdivant, and Wednesdays at noon is a Tattoo Now show. Thursdays at 12 or at 6 is a Tattoo Collecting Podcast. Aside from these kind of digital events, we all are going to a bunch of real world events soon. You can catch us all in Hell City, May 20th to 22nd, Indianapolis in June, as well as Ink Mania. We'll also be at the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational at the end of July, and Hell City in Phoenix at the end of August. Before we kick off with Fawn and guests, we'd like to shout out some of our sponsors because they help us give you this content for free. If you're not familiar, check out worldtattooevents.com. They're the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world. Even if it sucks, we'll talk about that for last weekend, but you know, every show that you can imagine is good and bad is on there. So even in the month of March, there were 40 some events that happened. Some great, some not so great. Thank you to Raw Pigments at rawpigments.co, an ink company that's tapping into the source with acrylic-free inks that have been impressing all sorts of artists around the world. Tattoo Now, thanks Gabe, providing technology for tattooers. And of course, the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. You can find his biomech encyclopedia, DVDs, machines, paintings, and more at guyaitchison.com. Of course, our affiliates, Fireside Tattoo Network, the Apprenticeship Diaries, and eco-friendly tattoo supplies.com. Other than that, I think it's time to bring in everybody. We've got a really cool episode ahead. We've been talking in the background for a while. Let's bring in Fawn. How you doing, guys? And Todd?
Pretty good. How are you, Lauren?
Oh, just swell. You know, talking about the weekend is just a lot of fun because I've heard stories, and this is, you know, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, we've really been. You know what our group of people did? We made the best of a horrible situation. Like before we even dive into how bad of a train wreck this weekend was, I am grateful that I was surrounded by incredible people. I got to hang out with people that I looked up to, and like we were all like in the same boat together. Like we're all like, well, we're here. Let's go. Ben just arrived. So Ben's joining us today. So fortunately, Derb and I were able to have some awesome clients meet us down there. And that's Brian and Jen who are with us. And we just we took Firefest and we still had a fun time. It was like we took Firefest and we just enjoyed camping on the beach. Like, I guess we're roughing it. Yeah, we're just getting started. Everything was just a little bit behind schedule today because of technical demons, but let's see here. Yeah, I'm giving it a try today. It might be more of a headache than they're worse. The little lapel. I think did they sound okay? Does my mic sound all right to you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that one's loud.
Get out of here. I want to say hey to Ben.
Hey.
And also, can you guys maybe go around the room and announce where you're at for people that are just seeing you for the first time? Your your name and where you live, stuff like that.
Okay, well, I guess me and Ben will start first. We're sitting here at Red Trees Gallery Tattoo Supply Warehouse in Columbus, Ohio. Brian and Jen, you want to go next?
We currently just relocated to Columbus, Ohio, but we are streaming from a beautiful hotel room in Sandusky, Ohio.
You guys don't stay home ever, do you?
No, never.
Good. You guys are working all the time. So I think it's great to see you, like, as much as you guys grind, you get to enjoy yourselves while you do it. So it's nice to see.
Constantly.
So what did you guys think of this weekend? This was your second tattoo convention experience. For those of you that are just new to the party, we've been talking for a minute. We had the pleasure, if you will, of attending the Ink the Bay 2 in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, it was an experience. What did you guys think of it?
It was definitely different. There was a lot of Fire Fest jokes, which I appreciate, and flea market feel. Like you said, it was great to be surrounded by people
Florida for you.
like, yeah, took the suck and just like dealt with the suck, and we did what we needed to do and didn't, blink at it. I think I had a great time. The circumstances like around it kind of sucked. Like having to steal trash cans was not probably the highlight of our day. But
I haven't heard the whole story yet, so excuse my laughter.
I wrote down a few talking points for us.
Oh, a few.
They just keep
She's
going.
got a sheet.
Just a few
keep
talking.
going. Just keep going.
There's more issues than there should ever be on each day, like
Aw.
for the whole convention. Like
Aw.
it was rough, Ben.
I got a synopsis,
It
and that
was
was
rough.
enough for me. I was like, my patience level for that kind of stuff is pretty dang low. So it's not hard to do correctly. It's like going to a restaurant where you know that the food takes like 6 minutes to make, and you waited an hour for it, and it's still shitty. You walk into a convention, you're like, well, setting up tables isn't that hard. I don't know what went awry here, but I'm glad you guys were there. I'll just say that.
It was bad. It was a bad.
It was just a bad. It was
So
just a bad. She's on Tourette's trip now. Bad. I'm trying
let's
not
start
to
off with
belittle.
Thursday night. We rushed from the airport to where the convention was because I was going to go live and I was going to join you as the setup was going on. And this time, like, we were stuck in traffic, but like I was watching Jordan and Ben and Emily on my phone, and I was keeping up with the conversation so I could join in. And we get there and I'm like, look, I'm like, got my backpack on and I've got like the mini setup with me so I can like plug in and go. And like, I'm thinking people are going to be carrying stuff in behind me and it's going to be smooth, banners going up, like what we see Thursday night at like Motor City and Thursday night at Health City. But what we saw was we walked into like, it looked like I walked into like a big open exposition hall, because that's what it was, with a concrete floor with no visqueen down or anything.
Just
like
warm and inviting.
yeah, and then like where there would normally, like, even if it were just like a trade show or flea market where there would normally already be aisles and tables set up, there wasn't anything set up. There were like these haphazard booths that people were like, I guess we get tables from that corner filled with tables over there. There were no like indicators on the floor of like where booths were supposed to be or where aisles were supposed to be.
Jesus.
So it was literally like a free for all of like, if you're here, set up a table and go.
Yeah, like Savon's point, if you just like think about what a puzzle looks like, and to be honest, that's kind of how the tables were. Like our booth was inside of another booth, and then what had like a bunch of chairs set up in front of the stage. By the end of or the beginning of Friday morning, there was like six more booths there, but they were like, they had made their own rows, and some of the rows just dead ended into other booths. So like you kind of never knew where you were going to end up. Like you'd go down a path and be like, well, I'm lost now. Like, I guess I'm getting
It's just a
tattooed by this
fucking
person.
maze.
But fortunately, there was no pipe and drape. So as you looked across the sea of rubbish and people and
Fortunate.
tattoos and plasma, you
And
could clearly
plasma.
see the people you wanted to be with, but there was no way to get to
I
them.
see you over
We
Yep.
exist.
there.
Yep.
Oh, that's wretched.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are a lot less vocal than me.
So this is
That
the
would've
first
ended
30
poorly for me.
seconds, Ben.
She said,
We're,
"We just
we're
got
only
there."
30 seconds in. We have walked in with our backpack on and we're going wah,
Uh-oh.
wah, wah. So then Derb's like, where's Jameson? And somebody's like, he was in this gray Suburban smoking a blunt. And we're like, I mean, we smoke blunts, but not on Hell City days. Like we
Yeah.
are like in focus mode, and especially Derb. Like you can't
You
get
can't even talk
Derb
him
to
into it, yeah.
smoke at anything. And he smokes with us all the time. He's the biggest stoner as the rest of us. But
Yeah.
like Hell City week, he is so business minded and so sharp and so
He doesn't
focused.
want to
Like
cloud.
he doubles up on his vitamins. Like he's like the best version of himself that week. But this
It's
guy
kinda
was like
weird.
hiding. Yeah, he's ultra business. It's a
Yeah.
little funny.
Yeah.
Like the first year, it's weird. The second year, oh, like
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
just Hell
this is-
City mode.
This
It's
is
cool.
normal.
So we go back in and like we had talked to one tattooer and he was just kind of like keeping an eye on our stuff while we were figuring out like the lay of the land. And when we go back in to get our stuff and we're leaving, the promoter spots Derb and he's like, hey Derb, come here. And we walk over to his car, and not a Suburban, not a SUV, but a car. And he's like all leaned back and he's like, hey Derb, come here. Derb leans down and he's like, I don't have any pipe and drape. Derb's like, what do you mean you don't have pipe and drape? He's like, I ordered it May 5th. Or
Oh.
March 5th, I mean. I
Oh,
ordered it March 5th. And Derb's like, bro, you should have ordered it January 5th.
right.
So
how does that happen? I mean,
It's on the train then.
it's on the train. It's probably still on the train. It's still on the train.
was that the running joke?
It's on the train.
It's on the train.
A lot of things. Yeah. The Vis Queen that was on the train, the paper towels that was on the train, the water, like the essential things that we thought were going to be just like waiting for us in our booth, because that's usually the bare minimum
Yeah.
that they provide.
What they call the bare min.
Yeah, the bare min. We didn't have that. So we thought like, oh, maybe he and his crew, once all the tattooers get a little bit set up and then head out, he and his crew are going to stay up all night and get the electric, and the pipe and drape is going to show up. Like there's a way this can be pulled off. Like
Yeah.
if he's got a good crew and they
Doors
come
aren't open
together.
yet.
So yeah, like anything can happen. Like if it's 8 o'clock the night before, that means you've got a solid 16 hours before the doors open. Miracles can happen with 16 hours, right,
yeah,
Ben?
Yeah.
Miracles
I mean,
can happen in
yeah.
16 hours.
doors
so,
aren't
like,
open yet.
Part of me wants to be like, guys, miracles can happen. This can go down. And then the other part of me is like, will the health department even let him open?
It's Florida. Did you just say health department?
No, they were
What?
very strict, man. Like they
Really?
were on it. We had to submit our paperwork twice. I had to take a totally different bloodborne pathogen testing just for the state of
Ugh.
Florida, which is the same stuff all over again.
I
But,
just
like,
kind of assumed with Florida being
no,
so
they were
Florida-esque,
stricter. They were
that would
maybe
be a
they're
little loosey-goosey.
maybe they're more strict because it's Florida-esque. Like they gotta like tighten the reins a little bit. But
we know it's
no.
pretty Florida around here, so we're trying to change that.
No, the health department was like ultra thorough and like they were on it with the artists. They wanted us to have everything. But anyway, so like Thursday night, we get to the hotel. We meet Brian and Jen for dinner. We have excellent appetizers. We got
Yes.
stuffed. That was another highlight of the trip. We did
Nice.
have good food every day.
We did.
We had really good meals. So we show up Friday, not knowing what to expect. We get there, there's still no power run. And it's after 12. Like we weren't in a rush to get there. We were like, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We're going to get there. It's going to be doors open. Everything's going to be fine. And they're going to be like,
Jetpacks
where's
for
Derb?
everybody.
Right. Not the case. We got there. There was a line out front. We couldn't find the right parking lot for vendors to go to. So we park in the general parking and we're just like, hey, we're vendors. Derb's like, I'm Derb. I'm a judge. And they're like, we don't know what that means, but come on in.
Informed staff, my favorite.
Wow.
Switch to gathering mode. Speaker isn't working.
Let's see. There we go. So we get inside, still no power. People are waiting outside until 2:30 in the sun for the gates to be open to
And
the
they were
general
supposed
public.
to open at
Noon. So right off the rip, everything's automatically, you would think, 2.5 hours behind schedule, right?
Nah.
So like things are going to have to be condensed and acts are supposed to be shortened probably, right?
Nah.
No, that didn't happen.
They're gonna run till 2:30 in the morning.
Well, I think that's what they thought was going to happen. But then 11 o'clock comes around while there are only a few categories into competitions. And the engineer of the building is like, I'm going to shut the lights off. I've been telling you, I'm going to shut the lights off, because he only had the building contracted until 11 p.m. instead of having access to it for 24 hours, the way like a normal person would do. They'd have their own security, have 24-hour access. So it was like every way he could cut a corner to save money, he tried to, where like, you should have just paid for this. You should have had your own security so you could do this. And he didn't. So the first day, the competition suffered because of it. People had to come back the second day for the same competitions, and they were kind of whack, Ben. Like, I'm down to get in competitions, especially if it's a convention I haven't been to before.
Yeah.
It was pretty whack. Their awards were 3D printed and hot glued together. Like they were
Hell
making
yeah.
them.
I
were
want one
classy.
now.
They were like,
Give
we
me
should
all the
have sold one.
hashness.
Classy.
Nobody would
I
have
want
even
you.
noticed.
I want you to think about like a toy that a kid would get from Burger King, and
Mhm.
that's what it felt like. Like that's what it was. You honestly thought maybe it was a joke,
Some
but
artists
it
left him
wasn't
behind.
a joke. Yeah, some of the
They
artists
were
that
all
won
over the
left him
set.
on the convention, and we're jumping ahead. But when we left that day, people had left him on their table, which I thought that was crazy.
I don't even
Yeah.
fucking want it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even want the prize. Like,
I would have kept it just for nostalgia. Like the worst convention of all times prize.
So
That sounds
so
wretched.
Friday, as we're settled in, we're like getting the lay of the land. We're seeing who's there, who like works through the confusion to get set up and figure out their way around. So as it turns out, he didn't have enough booths for all the people who he had invited. So like Brian was saying, they like took the area in front of the stage where it was all seating, and they turned that into haphazard like pop-up booths for all these people that didn't have booths.
How was the crowd? How was the crowd? Can we
Bruce,
just?
I love that one, man.
They just moved the seating and it was like, nah, fuck a show. You get to watch the show through our booth.
So Chris Taylor's like, I was supposed to have like a specific booth. I was promised a booth across from somebody, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? One of the other vendors. And he gave that space to Tony Ciabarro, which is fine because Tony's an awesome tattooer.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like he was basically as dumbfounded by the situation as the rest of us.
I was
Um,
just setting up where I was told
So
to.
Friday, Chris actually confronts him and he's like, hey man, I drove myself down here, my crew down here. I spent $3,000 to get here and you gave my booth away. Like, what do you do about that? Is there he's basically like, are you going to make this right or not? And he was like, he had the nerve to look at Chris Taylor, and we've had Chris Taylor on the show before, and he puts on the Indie Tattoo Show, which is an excellent expo. He had the nerve to look at him and say, it was a free booth.
What?
Yeah. Like
You know what?
it
You know
was
what else
free
is free?
anyways.
Never mind. I'll
Yeah.
stop talking.
So, okay, that
How's your dental plan?
Yeah, right?
How's your
that-
dental
I was
plan?
just
so
thinking
that situation smoothed over where like Chris confronts him and he starts yelling at Chris, and then he like goes up and he's like, hey guys, and he like tries to like get the crowd to like join him and like tell Chris he's in the wrong, but everybody's like, nah, we're staying out of this. Cut to later on in the day, everything calms down. Chris is standing in front of the booth talking to Derb and Gil Monty, who he also didn't have a booth for. How do you
Oh,
not have a booth for Gil
Jesus.
Monty? That's like, I don't know. It's like having a rock festival and telling Keith Richards you forgot he existed.
Sorry, Keith. Oh my God. How do you just never mind?
Yeah, yeah. I know. That's how I felt.
How?
It's-
Just
was bad, Ben.
Man, I'm
So
sorry, guys. It
While
sounds
Chris is
wretched.
sitting there talking to us, the promoter, Jameson, comes up and confronts Chris again in front of everybody. Like when he and Chris had words, it was behind the stage, and Jameson came out from behind the stage and was like making a scene where Chris went up to him and confronted him in private.
Right.
Well, as private as it gets in a
Politely,
situation
at
like that.
least.
Yeah, like he deserved to at least be confronted, but like Chris at least had the taste to do it not out in the open. Do you know what I mean? That
Yep.
subtle nuance
Yeah.
between causing a scene in the middle of a crowd and we need to have words in private.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like there's a subtle difference there.
It's not very subtle.
Oh,
it's
not a
pretty
subtle
pretty
difference.
broad.
Oh, okay.
pretty broad.
Okay,
That's
you
not
shouldn't-
subtle at
you
all.
shouldn't start a scene in the middle of your own convention. It's
Um,
not in front of
Again, I hope
three
your
three other
dental
show
plan is
promoters.
good.
like right there with 3 other show promoters.
I've met this man.
Or-
His arms are the size of my face. I would like.
I wouldn't want Chris to be
no.
mad at me.
No.
Or
I thought-
Fawn, the other side of that coin is like, you know, with all due respect, people like Jen and I that paid thousands of dollars to come to this event and get tattooed by world famous artists. And instead at the booth, I got to watch someone basically try to get into a fist fight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point where like, I'm not going to say much about my past, but Fawn knows my past, and I've spent time in Afghanistan. I'm trained to defend myself and other people. And I got to the point where like the fight or flight in me kicked in, and I stood up out of my chair calmly and stood by a group of grown men because I thought legitimately that there was going to be a fist fight. And if there was going to be a fist fight with my wife 2 feet away, I was going to my wife, you know, and like that's
Absolutely.
a situation to have to think about when I paid thousands of dollars to fly to this event that I'm like, wow, it's day one and I'm gonna have to fight somebody. Like very odd.
Christ.
Yeah. And
But I have-
you know, sorry, go ahead, say that again, Brian.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, do I have to pay extra for that? Like I flew down here. I got, like, how does
That's
this work?
included. That's included in your ticket, bud. That's included.
And this is why I'm glad you guys were able to join us, because it's one thing for me to like be somebody who's worked at different shows and I am on the team of Hell City to be like, this is the way it is and isn't supposed to go. But like, you just hit the nail on the head.
You were
You
guests.
guys as collectors, everything about tattoo conventions is designed for the collector. And if you as a collector are not comfortable being there, then what are you paying for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I
we
thought-
could, like Brian,
Because, like,
the whole
goddamn.
weekend, Brian was joking around about like, well, I'll just go get us a cabana and we can do this on the beach. And Derb was like, well, if I didn't have this seminar to give, if I didn't sign up and commit to judging, like if it wasn't for Derb having the obligation to fulfill his commitments, you know what I mean? His integrity, needing to fulfill those obligations, even though it was a disaster, we totally would have been on the beach.
I'd have been
together.
like, y'all want to go to the hotel room? We'll finish this up here in just a little bit. Just, you know.
Yeah. I told Fawn, I made the comment to her point every day. I was like, I was so uncomfortable half the weekend that I was like, Fawn will tell you, she'll get to it, and I won't steal her thunder. But I almost got the cabana because she'll tell you once we get there why. And I was like, we should have just been tattooed on the beach.
We're
Yep.
still on Friday.
Yeah.
We're still on Friday.
We've only just begun.
So let's see. Let's we got the confrontations.
Jesus
We got
Christ.
the additional confrontation. Tattoo competitions. They started off 3 hours behind schedule. Did we mention that everything started 2.5 hours late? So, okay. So everything was still, now we're 3 hours behind schedule. So the tattoo competitions are supposed to start early in the evening. Somehow they start at like 8:30. And they have like more categories for competitions than you should have. Like many of them were redundant, like very, very redundant. Like even on the first day, I can't remember what all categories there were on the first day, but it was like,
Every category.
it was like they did like most unusual and worst in the same category, which is weird because like,
Because they're synonymous.
I mean, some of
But they're
the,
not.
like I entered my armpits in that one because I was like, oh, I haven't entered a competition yet here. So I'm gonna
Right.
enter and we'll see how it goes and see if I want to enter the other ones. And instead I chose to help judge. So that worked out well.
Well, most of the time you have one or the other because they're trying to be polite about the worst. They don't want to say it's the worst. So it's you don't want, I don't know.
Yeah.
Most unusual ends up being the worst tattoo
So
category.
I think there were, I actually screenshotted to make sure I didn't.
Hey,
hit this
but
one.
I've placed in most unusual. And my
Well-
one that placed is definitely not a bad tattoo.
Right. I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, Todd, and you fit that mold a lot.
See.
You screenshotted the list of
Yeah,
the
so-
events. Here we go.
So let's see. Best of day contest was supposed to start at 9, but the tattoo competitions. So the tattoo competitions were supposed to start at 7, and they didn't start till like 9:30. Would you say?
Yeah, I would say
It was super
9:30,
late.
yeah. And then it was like just a giant bungle. Like nobody knew what they were doing. Like you guys went in to sign up and there was that crazy long line. And then like, I felt like nobody knew how to like input who was signing up or how the like categories worked. Like,
Yeah, the
Want to
people, the girl that was doing the sign up didn't know what, she kept admitting, like, I've never done this before. Like, I don't know. I don't like when people would ask what were the definitions of a category, she'd be like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not digging. She literally was like, I don't know.
Wow,
It
that's
was
great.
just over and over. Like, I don't know. So here are the
Well-
categories for Friday.
He's trying to beep in. Go ahead.
Oh, all I was gonna say, and like to your point and Jen's point, Fawn, like one thing that, because I got entered for Asian, so I got up there for best Asian, and the guy that ended up getting second place that had that full bodysuit, the first day when they did the judging, they read our name off and then had us come up there, and he ended up getting second place, but they didn't even read his name off, and he got pissed, rightfully so, because he's like, I've been working on this suit for 30 years. And I paid to enter into this competition and they didn't even call his name. So then after everybody else had gone through Asian and we're getting judged, then they brought him up afterwards to get judged. And it's like he got all the way down into just his underwear to show his full bodysuit. And it's like, if that dude hadn't caused the stink, like he would have paid for enter an event that it didn't even get judged.
Wow.
How many other people did that happen to that they didn't know or they weren't paying attention?
Because a lot of people are just going to keep their mouths shut and oh well and move on about it because they're non-confrontational at heart. That's sad.
Yeah.
And like you said, you guys spent thousands of dollars to go participate in this event to not even get your basic needs catered to, and that's what you're there for. And that's,
like I keep saying, our specific group, I do not want to throw it in the universe and make it sound like I didn't have a good time. We had the best time. We enjoyed ourselves so much, but
Right.
it was it was the company that we had. It wasn't the event.
right.
So yes, the event brought this company together, but it's like the event helped, like it made us survive.
Right. Trauma
together.
bond.
Yeah, that's it. We have a trauma bond now, Brian.
Sorry, Fawn, can you say that?
I said we have a trauma bond now.
We do have, like, and do you have any full Saturdays? We have a trauma bond.
So while we were there on Friday, we got about 4 categories through the tattoo competitions. And then the engineer of the building is about to shut the lights off. So it's 11 o'clock. He's like, we got to shut the lights off, contracts, this is what it is. So I'm on stage waiting for Most Unusual, like we're already staged. And then they're like,
Right.
nope, we got to do Tattoo of the Day right now. So they had to restage us the next day. But that even was way behind schedule. It was supposed to be at 7. I think it was like 8:30 again once we started. So like every single day it was behind schedule.
They say the easiest thing to do is show up on time, right? If you've got no other skill, if you've got nothing else to contribute, you can at least be on time. Like,
Yeah, that's fair. That's
if
fair.
all else goes wrong, show up 5 minutes early and you're ahead of a lot. So
Yeah.
It was crazy.
that's nuts.
It was crazy, man. So you've got the last 2 categories of the tattoo competitions for the day going on with flashlights and cell phone lights. So like when I say all the lights were off in the building,
Oh my
the building
God.
wasn't pitch black. It did have the like emergency
Yeah, they have to have safety
minimal
lights on.
requirement.
Yeah.
So there was like 12 and a half lumens of light to keep us from tripping over our own feet. That was about it.
Yeah, it was like watching an episode of The Witcher.
Oh, God.
There's all these weird sounds and everything was pitch black and like.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but this is hilarious.
And actually, there's one thing, Fawn, that we kind of like throughout the weekend, and you'll know where I'm going with this. But so in the morning, on Friday, there was legit probably a dozen and a half food trucks. Then by Friday night, there was like, I don't know, 12 food trucks. And then go ahead, Fawn. We'll see. You know where I'm going.
Oh, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get to that. It's on my list as we keep
It
going.
just got worse and worse.
We're to Friday night. So
She's
Friday,
like, we're still on Friday.
we're still on day one. Like we're still
Jesus.
on the, you know what? It was the first day. The first day was rocky. Saturday, he's going to bring it home. And Saturday is going to be great. And then Sunday is going to be easy, right? That's not the way it went.
That's
definitely
that's
not the way it
definitely
went.
not the way it went.
So let's cut to Saturday morning. So Derb's still jet lagged because he just traveled back to Ohio from Vegas. 3 days later, we're traveling from Ohio to Florida. So Derb's like he's more tired than usual.
Right.
Usually when we're on the road, Derb's up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed by like 6:15 and but it's like 9:30. I'm wide awake. I've already showered. I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm like kicking my feet off of the edge of the bed. And what do I do? So I'm like, I'll go down and get us coffee. So I go down to get coffee. And as I'm coming back up to our room, I run into the lady whose booth was right next to us at the show. So there was like the Red Tree double booth, and then she had a double booth because she was a sponsor. She had she had her banners all over the place. Her name was Lita. I can't think of the name of her shop, but she's from Florida. She specializes in like reconstructive tattoos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like a very niche clientele and a clientele who deserves to be treated respectfully and to be tattooed in an environment where they feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Extra.
again, bare minimum.
Extra.
Bare minimum.
No. Meaning those clients deserve that extra. That's something that should happen for everyone.
Right.
But yet these specific individuals.
Yeah. So one of her coworkers was supposed to tattoo a lady Saturday, and she called that morning and she was like, "Hey, I'm just really not comfortable with the energy of the show. I don't want to get tattooed there." And they were like, "You know what? That's just the sign that we needed. We don't need to be affiliated with this at all." So she went like bright-eyed, bush-tailed early in the morning, gathered up all of her banners, all of her stand-up signs, tore all of her sponsorship banners down that were up by the stage.
Wow.
And was out of there before the show even opened on Saturday.
Wow.
So this is somebody who paid over $4,000 for her sponsorship package, plus the traveling and everything to be there.
And was just like, nope.
Deuces. She's like, I'm not going to lose any more money on this. I'm just going to make my appointments, meet me at the shop, and just stick with the regular plan and just chalk up my losses.
Wow.
So like when your sponsors are over it and embarrassed and don't want to have their name attached to your show, that says something. You know
says
what I mean?
Well, H2Ocean pulled out a couple of weeks before it even went on. They were the first, one of the big sponsors to pull right out.
I know
Mike
DeVries was one of the sponsors. I don't know how much he contributed or what, any of those details, but they didn't even hand out his wipes until halfway through Saturday. Those are things that we should have had on our table Thursday when we walked in. Our booth should have been set up. We should have had this queen on the floor, and we should have had tables covered. And then this should have been in the pack of things that we got.
Do you remember the bump on the log, on the hole, in the throat, and the bottom of the sea?
Yeah, it was that kind of weekend.
This is what that story reminds me of. And one more thing.
Oh, and there's more.
But there's more.
So that's Saturday morning. So
the biggest sponsor pulled their banners. That's insane.
I don't know that she was the biggest sponsor, but a sponsor, period.
I mean, you're telling me she's the local. Generally they're
so
more taken care of.
They also I don't think they got all the way through the judging Friday night. No, they didn't get all the way through the judging Friday night. They still had 4 categories to go. So Stephen Derb made the executive decision to we're not doing it with the number system. We're going to do it the Asian style because it's faster and there's too many categories. Otherwise, we're not going to get through these.
Right.
So thankfully they did that, but we were still behind.
Oh, like the Kanban, like the cards?
Yep.
Yeah, that is faster.
Yep. So they switched to doing it that way and it was still just taking forever. And the categories were crazy on Saturday. Let me share this with you.
Let me share this
So,
with you.
First of all, my first issue, and I saw this like on our way in, when I was like looking ahead at like, you know, what we had to look forward to for the weekend. And the very first category is best dark canvas black and gray, best dark canvas color. Now, because they had like all these competitions that were like for airbrushing and this and that and the other, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm misunderstanding that. Let me not get heated because they're setting back our industry and how hard we've been working for equality and acceptance 10 years. Let's not let me interpret it that way, because I want to see the silver lining, and I don't want to think the worst of a situation before I know 100%.
But yeah.
But then what was this contest?
Exactly what it sounded like.
Exactly what it sounded like, Ben.
Oh,
Like, and maybe I'm crazy because, you know, I tattoo black people, white people, caramel people, like you name a color or flavor of people, and I tattoo them. You know what I mean? I feel like that's one of the things, like if you're a good tattooer, you can tattoo light skin, you can tattoo dark skin. It doesn't change the good or bad of a tattoo. It doesn't
Right.
change the quality and application of the tattoo.
or a differentiation in category.
Thank you.
Well,
Because
I want to add something here, because I've actually thought about this, okay, and not in a racist way, but you know, I'm lucky I'm not as dark as my dad, okay, because I'm half Irish, so I'm not nearly as dark as my dad, but there are a lot of dark people I know. And the thing is, though, is when dark people go into competitions, they rarely win, and it's only because it's like you just don't get the contrast with dark skin as you do with a paler person.
That's fair. But
Then I think that is a hindrance to people of color going up and in competitions.
One thing I want to give this guy credit
hard.
for is he had phenomenal judges. He had Steve, he had Megan, he had Derb.
Yep.
And then like I jumped up and helped, and there were a couple other tattooers. Emilio, he was up there judging as well. But he had the quality of judges that can see through dark skin to know whether it's a well done tattoo or not. Not all judges, to be fair, not all judges have the eye for it. But with this group of judges, dark skin or light skin, it wouldn't have made a difference. And I think that's why it chapped my cheeks, because it was like, I feel like the way this is worded and the way this has been presented just set us back a few years. I didn't like the way it was handled. Like if it could have, I don't know. But this is my personal pet peeve. I personally don't know of anybody else that complained about that other than me. It was just like, it just kind of rubbed me
but
the wrong
I
way.
mean, it would have irked me too if I would have seen it, because I'm going, really? We're down south and we're gonna have separate categories? Seriously? That would be my first reaction.
So they separate that, but then here's the thing. So we've got, let's see, there was best movie character, and these were all on Saturday. Best movie character, best cartoon character, and best cultural icon. Why aren't those all one category? Like if you can't give us good awards, why are you making all these extra categories with like more awards that like in turn are like, so the judges are seeing the same tattoos 3 and 4 times because they've entered them in multiple events or multiple categories. I don't know. It's just, it was awful.
Redundant.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word. It was very redundant. Do what?
It was super long. What it took Derb, like 4 hours to tattoo, or to judge. Like, and then he dipped out like one of the times just to eat. It was insane.
Yeah. And that's another thing. He didn't provide any water or like refreshments or anything for the judges, which is like, if you've got somebody up on stage, you always have water. Like people get a dry throat when they're talking and when they've got lights and stuff on them. Like, I feel like that's not even like a manners thing. That's a common sense thing. Like you have water and refreshments if somebody's on stage.
They were only judging for 4 hours. It's not, I mean, only
It's
4 hours.
only 4. It's just 4. No big deal.
Right. You're right, Brian. We
It was
are
only
over entitled.
1/3. It was only 1/3 of the day that we had to be in there from 12 to 12 that they were tattooing for. So it's not. I mean, it's just math. I mean,
It's just,
That's
Oh,
true,
man.
you know. I mean, that's so sad.
let's see.
Um,
So the shoving matches, that was Saturday, that were caught on camera, the almost fist fights. Let's see, what else? Food vendors. Oh, you mentioned it, but the food vendors clearing out halfway through Saturday, all the food vendors were out of food at the same time. So later on, I got a juicy piece of gossip, but as it turns out, he promised to pay the food vendors and didn't pay the food vendors. So they were all leaving and packing up early. So that left people getting tattooed that couldn't get any beverage or refreshment because there was also a contract that food couldn't be delivered to the park. So
Wait, I peed at the wrong time. You all weren't allowed to eat either?
no. No. Jen, legitimately, I actually checked my Fitbit phone. That time you guys went to the gate, it was half a mile. You guys walked a half a mile to get food because the food vendors left on Saturday when he didn't pay them. So then you guys walked a half a mile after she got tattooed for, I don't know, 7-8 straight hours to get her own food, to walk a half mile back because that was the only option to eat.
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it was a beautiful fairground. I'm just
Beautiful mile
I
for a long
am
walk.
not upset with the facilities at all.
If I ever need a
understand-
sunshine coach, I'm hiring you.
I
You're just going to stand
understand
around.
why-
No, this is okay.
I
It's okay.
understand why they kept it so secure. I get it. It was beautiful. They didn't want shenanigans. They didn't want redneckery. They didn't
Well,
want ratchet.
I'm okay.
They didn't want
Excuse
any
me
of
if I'm
those three things.
assuming here, but my guess is from how this show was set up, that was the impression they got from the beginning, and that their assumption might have been correct. So how are we gonna even be a little bit upset? They're like, "This is Florida, bitch. I've seen this before." Nope.
I don't know. One of my pet peeves at a convention. Let's set aside making fun of this past weekend. One of my pet peeves for a convention is you've got to have food close by, and it's got to be easily accessible, because when people are getting tattooed, they need to keep their blood sugar up.
Yeah.
They need to keep their health in mind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, that's another one of those things that makes this such a niche community. You don't need food to this degree as you do at other trade shows.
Right.
If you have water and some chips, that's fine for a lot of trade
Right.
shows. But people are going through trauma.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot
There's
that's
shock on
happening
your body.
in your body
Yep.
when you're getting tattooed, whether it's large or small. And you've got to have food. You've got to have protein. You've got to have.
Well, heaven forbid
sugars
somebody
and
has a sugar
carbs.
dump and there's no orange juice anywhere in the building because there's no food vendors or anything, a candy
Yeah.
bar, I mean,
Yeah, this is a pet peeve for me, just because it's health. Like when I have somebody that's having a rough session, it's like, you know what, I'm going to order food. We're just going to take a break. And
Yeah.
I order food. I order good food for us, not junk, whatever they've been eating. I order good quality
whatever
food.
they've been eating.
Well, some people, you know,
it's
they
just the way
either-
you said it.
some people don't think to eat right. You
Right.
know, I think the day before I get tattooed, the few days before I get tattooed, I like to carbo load. I like to make sure I get my broccolis. I like to have
Right.
I like to have the food that's packed full of good stuff that my body's going to use to
Right.
help repair and help replenish all those blood cells and help fortify my white blood cells. And you know what I mean? There's a difference between grabbing a Big Mac and actually having a steak and potato. Is it meat? Is it still the same craving? But is one going to actually help your body
Right.
repair itself the next
Right.
day? So I don't know. I feel like that's just one of those things. Your belly's got to be full, and it's got to be full of good food while you're getting tattooed, and you've got to be hydrated the whole time.
Yeah.
Those things are really important, and especially when you're at a convention, because if you're in a hall like this where it's open and the fans are on, you're going to dry out just
Mhm.
because. If you're in a convention where you're in a hotel and it's super dry and it's
Cold.
recirculated air, you're
Yeah.
going to dry out. These are things I'm not digging it. This is incredibly important, health wise for tattooers. and tattoo collectors. It's not just a little thing that he dropped the ball and there wasn't food available to us. And what about people that weren't clever enough to be like, or motivated enough to be like, well, yeah, you guys stay here. We'll walk to the gate and get us food. You know, we just
Right.
were taking turns all weekend. It was like the girls would go one time, the boys would go the other.
Heaven forbid you're there by yourself.
Brian was afraid I was going to get abducted.
That's a fair bet. Thank you, Brian.
He was like, you're going to get human trafficked. You're too nice.
Yeah, 100%.
Fair bet.
They'd be like,
Thank
oh,
you.
you want to get this van to get your food? And she's like, yeah, okay, I'll get this
I'm
van.
like,
It's in the
yeah,
back.
It's
that
just a
looks like a
small
heavy
ride.
chair. Let me help you
Yeah.
move it.
It's just a
Yeah.
small ride.
It's fine. I didn't even order this food, but I'll go get it out of that van for you. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you said it was for somebody back there? Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Brian did defend my honor.
As he should. Thank you.
Once we get a little bit further along in Saturday, we'll get there.
Jesus Christ. What is going on with this?
we're just not eating. That's all. That's the only point. We're just not eating. You know, I got tattooed for 19 hours over this weekend, and just fine. You don't need to eat. It's fine.
No, not at all.
I would have murdered somebody. Okay, if I go like 6 hours on a normal day and I haven't eaten, I will like want to cut you. I
Right?
couldn't imagine doing that. Then nutrient depleted, under stress, already dealing with bullshit, already.
Let's
Nope.
take a moment and
I'd have murdered
explain
people.
what awesome collectors Brian and Jen are. So they
Yeah.
came to Detroit. So they had like a grown-up convention experience before this one. Thankfully, this
Yes.
isn't their first rodeo, but it's their second rodeo. So, but they're such good collectors. They've traveled with us. They go with the flow, always positive attitudes, even though Derb and I have been just annihilating the two of you. I worked on Jen 2 days back to back. And
Nice.
Brian got worked on all 3 days. So both of those are really challenging. And like the first 2 days that I worked on Jen, like we really worked a lot of hours. I mean, you know, there were breaks and stuff in there, but there was really a lot of tattoo time, and that's more stressful at a convention.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more distractions. And sometimes people just don't have the patience to sit as well. But like, hats off to you guys. I don't know if we really talked about that. Like we might have made light of it a little bit, but not all people can sit like that at conventions.
Yeah, it's tough.
No.
It kind of helped that we somewhat liked our
Yeah.
tattoo artists. Like,
I mean, I went from having hairy snakes to pumpkins, and now I have a ghost hand.
stand up. Let's see.
Like, you want to see my ghost hand?
Let's see. Get us son.
Like,
Coming
let's-
along.
Ooh.
And my silverware.
Yep. Little by little, I really wanted to get that finished. I thought we had
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
12 Saturday.
Insane.
Right?
It's looking really good.
She's done such a good job. That's the mouse that she wasn't allowed. Just
So-
for future reference.
Yeah.
So we can jump to that part. We're pretty close. So mind you, we keep saying they made us like everything had to shut down early. I thought we had until midnight Saturday. I thought it was like 11 midnight, and then whenever time the show stopped on Sunday. Nope. 10 minutes until 11. They're like, all right, you need to be done tattooing in 10 minutes. The only announcement.
Yeah.
10
Oh.
minutes.
Oh, okay.
10 minutes to wrap up.
Okay.
So the way I've got Jen sitting, like I'm working on her, but like behind, like it's right in front of me. But for people looking, I've got my iPad right next to her. So I'm just like, I can work here, look here. So like my iPad is right in front of me, which I don't know if you know this or not, but iPads have a little clock in the top of them. So you can like visually see what time it is all the time,
all the time.
all the time.
All the time.
So
The time.
see how we did that?
Yeah.
So the announcer then is like, anybody tattooing needs to stop tattooing. And I'm still like, I got to get this tiny little mouth in here. I got to finish this detail. Like everything else I can re-stencil, but this I got to finish. So I'm wrapping up. And he announces again, like everybody needs to stop tattooing. And I've got my back to him, so I don't realize this. I'll let Brian pick up from here.
So the MC's up on the stage, and you know it's not his fault, but he's every bit of like 5 feet tall, and he's up there just like yelling at people to finish tattooing. And then in my straight eye vision, I can look forward and see another person tattooing. And I'm just going to say it. I see a male tattooing, and then over to the left, I see another male tattooing. And then I turned my head and saw a third male tattooing. Then for some reason, the MC decides while their judges are judging on stage, to pull the mic to his mouth and go, hey, you right there. And then he points at Fawn. He goes, you're going to stop tattooing, or we're going to send someone to help you stop tattooing. And I don't know, maybe it was the lack of food for the last 2 days or being tattooed for 14 hours at that point.
Hold on. I got to pause. At this point, I still have 8 minutes remaining. Only 2 minutes have passed since when he said we have 10 minutes. So only 2 minutes have passed. Okay. Okay. Continue.
And keep in mind, like in front of the stage, there's every bit of 40 to 60 people watching the judging event. So like, one, I didn't appreciate the disrespect of like calling out just one person. And two, I'm sorry, but the fact that this guy is up there threatening a woman is how I took it. So I stood up in my chair, and I'm not a violent person anymore. But I stood up in my chair and as loud as I could, slammed it into the table and said, excuse my language, fucking send them. And I said it loud enough that people in front of me turned around and be like, whoa, who said that? And I was like, no, fucking send them down here to help her stop tattooing. And then a couple people were like, oh shit. And I was like, no, I fucking want you to send them down here to stop her. So then like, he's up on stage and like looks around, and sure enough, within, I don't know, 30 seconds, I look over my shoulder and there's a sheriff's deputy and 2 security guards that have come.
2 sheriff's deputies.
Oh, that's right. There was 2 sheriff's deputies and 2 security guards all come walking up to the booth for Fawn, who's still in the time frame tattooing.
The nicest looking.
Like the nicest.
So
the other dudes are still tattooing as well.
Jesus.
So then, of course, my temper gets the best of me. And I go over to one of the deputies who's just staring at Fawn, and I stare right back at her, just like waiting for them to say something. And then finally they're like, And I was like, oh, like, because I have a very nice watch on. It's updated by satellites. It's not an iPhone watch. It's like, it doesn't matter. So I, of course, being upset and like, yeah, she still got like 2 minutes. So then the deputy slowly pulls their phone out and looks at it and goes, well, I just wanted to double check, And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, now she's got 1 minute left. And then the deputy is like, well, I haven't taken anybody to jail yet today. And I'm like, okay, take her to fucking jail. You know what? Take me to fucking jail. Take us all to fucking jail.
You're threatening jail over minutes?
Minutes. And Fawn still has the time, and Fawn's just cool as a cucumber over there watching her iPad. I didn't know she was watching her iPad at the time, so I'm getting hyphy I'm getting like upset for Fawn. And then of course she makes the comment again about jail, and then the other deputies come walking up. So then I'm like, you know what? Take us to jail. I pay my attorneys very good money. By the time I'm done, I'm going to own this convention. I was like, I'm going to own this building. I was so upset. I was like, I dare someone to come behind here and physically put her in handcuffs. Like, please do it. I hope you have more security.
And again, may I please ask what law was broken? What Florida state law that the sheriff is there to enforce?
Trespassing.
Trespassing.
After 11.
After 11. So they're going to remove every single person from the building.
It's weird because they only pointed at one female tattooer and sent 2 sheriffs and 2 security guards to stop her from tattooing.
Mind you, I was working with Derb, another show promoter who he may or may not have felt certain ways, or you know what I mean? Like there was like anytime I passed this guy, he wouldn't make eye contact with me. And I make eye contact. I'm an eye contact communicator. Like, sometimes it's a glance instead of a hello. Like eye contact is everything. So he wouldn't make eye contact with me. So like I notice when people I get it when it's like quick eye contact. I understand some people don't hold eye contact, no big deal. But like he would not look me in the face, and like clearly he wouldn't look Derb in the face either. But like,
so luckily, I appreciated that the other sheriff's deputy, he was a sergeant, he had stripes on, could tell that the situation with me and the other deputy had escalated to the point where like if they had stepped around that table, I would have gone to jail. So then he came over, talked to the other deputy, and was like, basically leave. So then that deputy left, and then a security guard came over, and at that point, Fawn had finished. And now we're at the time, and she finishes because she's intelligent and knows how to read a clock. And she gets up as she's like taking her gloves off and is like, hey, just so you guys know, and she's so polite and so calm, and like I'm sweating because I was like, somebody swing, like trying to take me to jail. Fawn's just like, hey, I was watching the clock, I totally get it, like we're not upset with you guys. And then luckily the deputy and the security guard were actually, no, we agree, we're not upset with you guys either, we're just trying to put this in perspective. This certain person, you know what I'm saying right now, this person basically has blown away all of our rules, hasn't listened. They weren't allowed at the convention center from last year that they did their event till this year. half the food vendors left. They were supposed to get food vendors for us as officers to make sure we had food, and they didn't pay them. So then they also left, and like we told them they were supposed to do this. They didn't do that. We told, basically it goes on a venting rant about why they're basically looking for a fight because a certain person has pissed them off enough. And of course I appreciate that, but I'm also like, but don't come mess with Fawn. She didn't do anything.
Yeah, why are you messing with the guests?
Why are you fucking with her because you're mad at him? Go fight him then. Take him to jail,
Please.
Sorry, I'm done now. I'm over.
No, let it out, brother. That's what we're here for. Talk it through. Because that's ridiculous. Like what? And okay, so now the poor event, where was this place? Where was this at? Was this at a hotel? Was this at a convention
It was at
center?
the nicest fairgrounds I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And do you think this fairgrounds is going to ever allow not only that event, but any event
here's the
even
kicker.
slightly
The
resembling it
company
to
that
come back?
owns the fairgrounds is the same company that owned the convention center where he already wasn't welcome back last year or after last year.
They're like, okay, we're going to class you down to the fairgrounds because you already fucked up the convention center. You're getting booted to the horse barns. Don't fuck up out there.
No, he's not cool enough for the horse barns. Let me get there because there's a good part. So as we were leaving, Saturday night and we're cooling down after almost getting arrested and the competition's ending with cell phones and flashlights again. We're coming around the back way, we actually found the right driveway to go in and out finally. So we're actually coming around the back way and I look over and I'm like, oh, what do my eyes behold? The Budweiser Clydesdale trailers.
Oh.
I'm like, the Clydesdales are here. But then I tried to let it go. I didn't want to get too excited. Because I didn't want to get too excited because they got to stop at roadside rests and fairgrounds and things like that along the way so they can get out, stretch, and they'll be there for a few hours. And then as soon as sunset or sunrise, they're on the road again.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get my hopes up. So the next day, while Jen and I are outside getting food, one of the handlers walks up and down with two of the horses. Did he have two of them or just one of them the first time? He had two the first time. So we're like, they're here. So we know they're here. So we go back in, we get our food, we go back in, by this time, Gil Monty had joined us because like we said earlier, the lady who was in the booth next to us packed up all of her stuff and left. And since Gil Monty didn't get a booth,
He got a second day booth.
we invited Gil and Gemma to come over and hang out with us. So that was pretty cool. We got to hang out with Gil Monty and
That's
Luna.
awesome.
They had their little dog Luna. So Gemma is Gil's wife. And we're like, you want to go see horses with us? She's like, yeah.
Duh.
So we don't know, as excited as she was, I assumed that she knew her way around horses. She didn't. So we get over to the horse stables and stuff. We find the trailers and we're looking for them. We don't see them. And then we're trying to stand tall. And Jen, she spots one of their ears sticking up over a cinder block wall. She's like, there they are. So we truck our way around the building and there's a chain across the doorway. I'm like, wah, wah.
Right.
But the handler's in there. And I was like, would you mind if we walk through? And he's like, no, I'm in here right now. Come on in. So we got invited in and we got to play with Rocco. He was the biggest flirt I've ever met in my life.
No.
He's one of the big boys.
Did you feed him peppermints?
Oh, no, we didn't feed them, but they were in the middle of being fed. We just kind of loved all over them. They
Nice.
didn't need any more treats.
They needed their treats.
But it was pretty cool. Once the handler, I think once he realized that Jen and I were both so comfortable with him, he opened the gate so Rocco could come out and play with us.
Aww.
So he only took a step out of the stall, but we
Trip
got
is
to love on
officially
him.
worth it.
Thank
Right?
you. Thank you. So all the other guys were jealous. So we had to go and give all of them love. And then
Aw.
they had the Dalmatians in a stall by themselves.
Yeah.
So it was
The one
pretty-
had super judgy eyes though. He was not about it. I pushed the ball back in and the puppy was like, what's up? And then the other one was just staring, come at me, bro. This is what we're doing today.
they were all serious. Yeah, that was the highlight. So
That was the good part.
Yeah.
Non-related to the convention.
to demonstrate how
Absolutely.
nice the fairgrounds were, the horses were being kept there all week for, did he say there was an air show going
Yeah,
on or
an air
something?
show. Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. I saw the Budweiser Clydesdales when I was 4 or 5, but they were all in dress and I wanted to go up and touch them, but they were in parade mode. So they
Yeah.
had their blinders on and you couldn't because it
Yeah.
startles them and
Yeah.
the whole but this time I got to love on them.
Nice scratches. That's awesome.
Yep.
I think
should.
Fawn loved on every single one of them.
Well, I mean, you can't just pick and choose. They're all special in their own right.
I think there were two that I didn't. There were two that just weren't really paying much attention to me, but all the others were like, it's my turn.
What a moment.
Like the most babied horses.
Growing up, my parents' friends had Percherons,
Mhm.
which are same size, if not bigger than Clydesdales. And you could literally sit on top of them. They were too big to put your legs over. So you sat Indian style and like you could just sit there. They were
It's like riding an elephant.
Oh, yeah. You didn't steer them. You didn't know bridle, no nothing. You could just reach up and like tap one side, like knee tap.
Mhm.
But since they're fucking mammoth, you just reach down and they slowly start to turn one way. So much fun. So much fun.
So Gemma, I didn't realize. I was like, get up here and pet him. She's like, oh no. Nope.
I'm a looker.
No, thank you.
She's like, I got some good pictures of you petting them. But I was like, oh, but I think she really enjoyed herself. I think that was a cool moment. Yeah, that was probably like the whole highlight.
So you've mentioned that you had good food. Hit me with it.
Oh, let's see. What all did we do? We had some good breakfasts.
My fave.
The mom and pop place that we had, we met up with Derb's mom and stepdad and had breakfast. That place was pretty good. What was it? 301
Family.
301 Family Restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
Good memory.
It was very homey.
Yep.
We had the really good noodle place that we went to at like 1 o'clock in the morning when we had to find food. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I got way too many pot stickers, remember? And you guys got like 4 pounds of rice and chicken. And you ate like, I don't know, 3 ounces of it, of the 4 pounds.
We probably could have gotten like 2 orders to share for the whole 2 tables.
But real quick, young lady, I don't know if you just like, you did miss 2 pretty important highlight reels. Are you going to mention those or are we going to not mention those?
Which ones?
There's a certain fence situation, a certain U-Haul.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh God, we're still on Saturday, aren't we? I can't. All right,
This
we're still
is
on
my
Saturday.
favorite story of all times. I'm so glad this is being recorded. Can I just throw that out there? Like,
No, she's right. I forgot we were still on Saturday. You guys were still walking a mile to get coffee.
Well,
Yeah.
we were to early Sunday. We had lunch. And we were to horses. So we're like Sunday afternoon now.
Oh, that's right. Because Derb was tattooing me when it went down. Yep, that's right. You guys were at the horses. Yeah.
Sunday
right.
we were on a high. Things were going good. We thought the
Yep.
show
We were
was
used
gonna
to
go
the
off.
shit.
Like, all right, we're just gonna this is just steadily. We might be able to bring this home with a smooth landing.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Did
How'd
it
that work
happen
out?
like that?
probably not. I'm just guessing from the chain of events previous. Just guessing.
You get better.
So, well,
So do you want me to tell
Brian,
you?
do you want to talk about the U-Haul incident or
Yeah.
should I?
All right,
Do you-
that's fair.
Let it
That's
rip,
fair.
Bobby.
Because
Let it rip.
He's too nice.
because I'm being tattooed and Derb's actually in the zone. Like I said, we're like hour, I don't know, 15 or 16, and he's just going. And all of a sudden, one of the other pretty big artists comes up, and he was with one of the security guards was with him, and they were like laughing about something. And Derb's just tattooing, not even paying attention. Those guys could have like shot a gun next to Derb, and he was in the zone. He wouldn't have heard it. Well, then the guy like says Derb's name 2 or 3 times to the point where like I heard it, and I looked over my shoulder, and like the guy was like, "Hey, Derb," and Derb's finally like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And he's like, "You got to hear this." And then standing there, him and the security guard proceed to tell us this story. And I don't have any police reports. I can't corroborate the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you the story that we were told by the security guard that was running the event. And one of the main, I think this is credible. So he goes, "Did you guys see what happened?" And Derb's like, "No, man, I just been tattooing all day." And he's like, "So we were just outside," and the security guard's still laughing. His face is red, right? And he's like, he's like, "There was a U-Haul out there that's been out there for the last 2 days. And there was the woman that won the bikini contest or one of the like contests. And we're like, yeah, okay, we think we remember. And he's like, yeah, she was in this color bikini, blah, blah, blah. And Derb and I are like trying to think about it. And we're like, okay, I don't really remember. Maybe I do. He's like, well, anyways, she was in the back of a U-Haul propositioning certain types of gentlemen for sexual favors and was taking them in there and having them sign releases to say it was porn, and then having sex with them or doing whatever ladies of the night do, and then kicking them out of.
ladies of the day.
Yeah, that sounds like a Sunday
Ladies of the
during the
day.
day,
Sunday
buddy.
afternoon.
This is a brunch whore if I know my terms.
I appreciate that correction. There's ladies of the brunch, and she's been kicking them out, and she's 7 deep when all of those cops that were there in their show of force had noticed and like figured out what was going on. So then an undercover cop drew the short straw, I imagine, and went in.
He signed up. He was like, "Oh, I'm in for this Florida shit."
And he was probably in for it till he opened up the U-Haul and stepped in and shut it and was like, "What is that smell?" And we all know what that smell was. And then
Shame. It's shame.
Shame.
Shame. It was shame. And then he busted her. And then come to find out that, and again, this is just what the guy told us, she has some form of relationship through either, work or employment or whatever with the promoter himself. And then so they detained her, obviously, and arrested her, and were trying to get a hold of him for basically prostitution.
So was he getting a cut?
So around the shop, we've been having this discussion, and so there are different echelons of conventions. Okay.
Yep.
There are some conventions that some conventions would be like a Chevrolet, trusty. You're gonna get.
I love where this is going.
You're gonna get 300,000 miles out of this thing. You're gonna get there in comfort. Some conventions are like a Cadillac or a Porsche. You're gonna get there, but it's gonna have a few more bells and whistles, and it's gonna be a little bit more comfortable of a ride. Okay.
So y'all was in a Daewoo, huh?
Oh no. I've been saying this thing is a roller skate from 1912 with a wad of peanut butter on one side, lost 2 wheels and half a strap.
No key,
baby.
it
No technically key. Still has wheels, but
yes, man, that's horrible.
But unless you signed the waiver, you didn't want to write them. And even if you signed the waiver, you probably still didn't want to write them.
It sounds like the waiver didn't do any good. It still got busted.
No, yeah. So apparently she tried to get by saying it was porn, and they were like, "Yeah, no, that's not happening." You're going.
Well, you need a license for that as well. You need a broadcasting license. You need a recording license. You need to have proof of medical clearance. There's all kinds. You need more paperwork to do porn than just say, "Hey, I'm fucking strangers in a trailer. Mind your business."
Have you been a mope this whole time, and I had no idea?
Don't put my shit on. This is a recording, Vaughn.
You're supposed to just deny.
I mean, deny. I run a camera. No, I'm just kidding.
Where do you think I got that smooth pan?
No,
from?
so one of the other gentlemen that photographs at Hell City is in the porn industry, and him and I had a couple conversations in between sets and in between shows at the stage about the industry. He was essentially saying that cameramen are hard to find, and I've got good frame rates, and I'm like, nah, fam. I'm cool. I run this camera twice a year. This is not my job.
Hold on.
For fun.
Hold on. But what if he offers you the amazing scenic scenario of being in a U-Haul while you do it?
As I can be. I'm gonna spider web up in the corner and hold myself there.
As I can right now.
My biggest thing was was it one of those U-Hauls that they just pulled the door up and then went in and then pulled the door down really aggressively? Or was it one of the ones that you could walk through the front?
I mean,
I was thinking it was the door they put up, man. I mean,
that's what I was imagining.
I'm guessing by the caliber of show and individuals that keep being brought up, it was probably a trailer. Probably wasn't even like a whole fucking U-Haul. It was probably a little pull behind that they had to spike on the fucking bricks.
All right.
Gotta stand on the axle. On the axle. Oh, this is
take
amazing.
My money. Take my money right now.
I'm watching this show. Damn it! Take my money. Wow, you couldn't make this up.
I mean,
no, legit could not make this up.
We could, but we wouldn't make it all up for one story.
You be trying too hard.
Yeah. It's like, no, you don't really. You don't have.
Man.
You know you're lying when you elaborate too much.
So hookers in the parking lot, huh?
Yeah. So
And this was only at like 2. This was like, oh no, it's probably like 3. It was probably like 3.
On a Sunday, no less.
On a Sunday.
Jesus liked blowjobs. Let's be real.
Yes.
He hung out with the hookers too. Okay, Sunday ain't got nothing to do with it. He had his own little special day for him. He hung out with the thieves,
Yeah, but
the
you're in
hookers,
Bible
all of them.
Belt, though. You're
Good
in the
company
Bible
is what
Belt.
he used
Deep
to
in the
call it.
Bible Belt.
You were in the Bible Belt. You're down in Florida. That. Yeah, that's good. That's
just
good.
below the belt.
As most Florida jokes are.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So we're going next year, is what you're saying? 'Cause fucking you all hookers. Like,
Oh, I already
come
booked my
on.
tickets.
I
I
was
already
actually just-
booked my tickets. So
Prepaid,
I
my man.
was just looking at this Health City mug, and I was thinking maybe for the podcast, I should get Ink the Bay 3 mugs made for us. So we'll have a U-Haul on the back. It'll be Ink the Bay on the front,
Yeah.
U-Haul on the back.
I'm glad none of these people actually know me.
I'll just mix that in with the Tattoo Smart stuff.
It's got to
and
be
Red
new
Tree
school,
stuff.
though. New school style.
Wow. So much wow. And we're not done. You all hookers. What happened after that?
Oh, what did happen? after that?
You didn't pack up
Okay,
yet.
well-
Fuck, there's got to be more.
So
Please.
Still no food vendors on Sunday.
all the
yeah,
food
so
vendors.
then on Sundays when they were all gone. And then at that point, you guys did have to walk another mile for your food again. And then Derb got stuck on stage judging another like 2 hours. And then at that point, luckily, somebody
Right,
volunteered to like cover down, and then Fawn volunteered to cover down because it was just out of control. I mean, there was 27 different events on Sunday as well somehow.
Jesus.
I just kind of jumped in at the end of the day for like best of show and tattoo of the day and like the end of show categories, like best back piece. So it was kind of cool to be up there judging with Megan Jean, because like, I mean, I was arrogantly like screwing around in the booth. I stood up on a chair so, I could see the whole lay of the land from 1 foot off the ground.
All that pipe and drape in the way.
More comment like that.
But I was watching the girls on stage, and I was just like, I win. And then like I realized there were only 2 judges on stage, and like they were like waiting around. I was like, maybe I should go help.
I should go help.
So instead of being like, I win and going back to work, I was like, let me go help. So it was kind of cool that like me and Megan were deciding and talking with other women about their collections.
Love it.
And like it ended up being like some
Love
nice,
it.
thoughtful little discussions amongst us
So-
on stage.
From what I'm hearing, the attendance probably was decent though. Because if you're telling me these are overpacked fucking events, there's too many people in the competitions, there was a lot of people.
Fair.
So
but,
for
like,
the
if you-
style
if
of
you-
convention, I'm guessing
Hear
attendance
this
was
though.
decent.
If you were to like look down the like makeshift aisles between, like you'd see a lot of commotion in the booths, but if you were to look down and look at people walking in between looking, you'd like look all the way down, and like our makeshift aisle led straight to the bathroom. So it was one of the busier ones. And there'd be like 2 or 3 people in that aisle at any given time. So like there were tattooers, there were the people getting worked on, and then there were people waiting for the competitions. Like there wasn't really a lot of milling around. Just
So
to
we
watch.
we shouldn't throw our money together and throw a convention down there, is what you're saying.
Not with this guy running it.
Oh, not in, no, in no way, shape, or form. Like I meant us.
Oh, we could do a better job with our hands tied behind our backs.
Well, not if
We
people don't
could-
come.
We could. We could.
That's why I
probably-
started there.
Fair. I don't know. I know it's an incredible undertaking, and we're sitting here and we're kind of like clowning on the whole event.
I've done thousands of events my entire life. I've been working in events planning since I was 16 years old.
This guy.
I'll talk
could-
shit.
this
Bring it
guy-
to me.
This guy could be a great event planner. It's just the tattoo community is so niche, and there are so many things that we need, and the things that are like basic staple needs for us were dramatically
Right.
overlooked.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, young
Well-
lady, and I love you, but I will say this, like, you have the intelligence that if you threw an event like this and you paid people to come be guest judges and then you paid people to give seminars, would you maybe at least once announce said seminar that they were giving?
Oh, I didn't get to that part yet. We're not, well, I guess that's the appropriate time to talk about it because now we're into Sunday afternoon. Derb took the time to prepare a brand new seminar for this. You know what I mean? Like, you know how long he spends every time he puts on a seminar. He like sits down and focuses multiple days of time. He puts together like a PowerPoint presentation. He goes through it multiple times. He then streamlines it, elaborates things that need to elaborate on. Like it's literally like a 3 to 5 day process for Derb to put together a 2-hour seminar. He's very thorough. Well, he didn't announce it one time.
So no one?
So who would sign up for something they haven't heard about?
Is murder legal in Florida?
No.
No.
Stand your ground.
That's
So-
it. Stand your ground.
So
I missed that. I caught it the second time. That's good. He was coming at me, I swear. I ran forward, but you know,
I tried to stop him.
I did stop him. No. Jesus.
So let's see, where are we?
So no one came to Derb's conference?
No,
They-
didn't do it.
He didn't do it because he didn't announce it one time.
Yeah,
There was
nobody knew.
one guy that came by the booth and was like, hey, are you presenting this weekend? And Derb's like, well, maybe if they announce it. And he pulls up the webpage and he's like, here, I'll show you what it's on. And he pulls up the webpage, he clicks on his link. And then where it's supposed to drop down like a point by point, what his seminar is supposed to be about, like the business things that he was going to talk about, but it just looped you right back to the Ink the Bay homepage. So you couldn't even you could see a picture like Derb Morrison here giving a seminar. Click here to see what it's about. Ink the Bay 2.
Ink the Bay 2. All right.
To give the guy credit, he definitely is a club promoter because the music he had was
that's
good.
true.
Like, I mean, the band he found, they were good. Like his contest, like the
Yeah.
pinup contest was a cute idea. Like,
Yeah. Vaughn and I had a dance off all weekend.
yeah, like the
What?
DJ was really
Oh, yeah.
good.
No, straight up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
but-
booth was the most poppin' booth. Everybody
Oh, yeah.
wanted to hang out with the
Was.
cool kids.
That is generally how our crowd rolls, but
It was
Wow.
both the most poppin' and most boring because Derb and I traveled like so minimalist. So it was just like big open concrete floor. Everybody having a good time.
dance space.
It was
Wow.
great.
All I'm gonna say is wow.
So
Wow.
But
now,
that's,
now
that's
we're
what you
on
get
to-
when you have a promoter that just is a promoter but never has put on a tattoo convention. I
And
mean, he has no idea what needs to be done.
now
the
we're getting
artist needs, the guest needs. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on to a convention that people never ever see.
Very true.
And,
Well, that's the
and
way
he
with the
didn't-
majority of events.
and he didn't hit any of those marks, from what
Well,
I hear.
Well, now
Yeah,
we're to
none
the
of
end
those
of the
marks.
show. We haven't gotten to all of it yet. So now we're to the end of the show and everybody's packing up and tearing down and everybody's taking their trophies that they're so proud of. Stop. You're making me laugh.
Sorry.
Stop it.
Sorry.
Anyways, so apparently there were in fact not enough sharps containers to go around and people were disposing of their
Oh, yeah.
needles in
I
like,
heard of this
empty
not
gloves.
through our group, if that tells you.
You heard
anything.
this like through the other grapevine?
Oh, like yeah.
Because I heard some
Like the
crazy
homie
stuff through one of
grapevine.
our bartending buddies who was hearing some gossip.
Oh.
Anyway, so this isn't even just the tattoo community. Like people that are just collectors are like, it's pretty ratchet. Is ratchet an appropriate word? Is ratchet an appropriate word? Can
Yeah,
I say ratchet?
Yeah,
Can you
you're
say
good.
infested?
I'll allow it.
Ratchet?
I'll
You'll allow it?
I would allow it. I would allow it.
All right, it was pretty ratchet. So yeah. So what happens when we have what happens at the end of the night when we put like in a normal convention, like what we're used to, like so
Breakdown
what happens
procedures.
at the end of the night is we usually like clean up and we put everything inside. We are given these little like disposable trash cans and then they're lined with what we call trash bags. And in Florida,
They weren't Kroger's bags.
Imagine
Huh? You
that.
sure?
in Florida, Florida, you've got to use the red biohazard bags
Mhm.
to identify biohazardous waste for hazmat,
Right.
which is day one. Like in some states, you just have to register so they know that there's potentially infectious material in the dumpster so they can handle it appropriately. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it may seem like we're just tossing trash in a dumpster, but we've registered to
Right.
toss
Right.
that trash into that dumpster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what happens when you take a whole bunch of bags that people have dumped like liquid and blood soaked?
Oh,
Things into-
plasma.
Yeah, the plasma. What happens when you take a whole bunch of those bags and put them in a pile together?
They smell great.
Well, they smell great, but they
And
also like leak a
leak.
little bit. Human soup,
Oozy ooze.
Nobody makes me
Yeah.
bleed my blood.
Ugh.
except Derb. I've
Ugh.
seen it with
Son
my
of a
eyes.
Son of a bitch.
The last thing I ever want to deal with ever again in my life is human soup. I remember back in the day closing down the street shop, having to gather everybody's trash cans, and
Hey, Ben, let me ask you this. Before you dealt with that human soup, did you get just a little bit of education like, hey, this is biohazardous and this is the right and wrong way to handle it?
do you want the answer you're fishing for, or do you want me to tell you the truth?
I want the answer.
Yes, I had all kinds of training and expertise.
Somebody was like, before
bloodborne
you,
pathogen
before you
class.
spatter around in that, put
Don't
some
lick
gloves on,
that.
right? Okay.
Yes,
They said
yes.
put some gloves on, right?
Oh yeah. at
And then they
least.
said afterwards, like spray some Mavicide on
Mhm,
it and
mhm,
wipe it up,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Like
mhm,
that's the bare minimum.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
You at least got that training.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Even in like the lack of a better term, ratchet ass street shop I worked at.
Well, the people helping at this show did not have that basic training. So they were just leaving like bags
Oh my
in other
goodness.
bags. Like they would take the biohazard bags and put them in a regular like 55-gallon drum liner. And then that would just sit there and leak. So there was like a whole puddle of human soup. They then drug that.
Walk into human.
They then drug the bag leaking the human soup across the non-sealed porous cement floor. Did I add non-sealed?
All right, go baby.
So then they come behind said puddle
Mhm.
with just regular like mops and soapy water. So now the floor is becoming contaminated with everything they touch with
Wait,
that mop. And now
Hold on. So I stop everything you're saying. You're telling me that if I push bloody water around with soap, it spreads pathogens around?
I know that this is shocking, but
No,
yes.
Do me a favor, steak real quick. Just burn her at the stake while you're at it. Like,
Jesus.
So basically, yeah, they were like having a like slip and slide with biohazard.
Mm,
So
mm.
it'll
My
bust.
stomach literally just turned.
They
I hope, I like
neither-
no exaggeration. That's the grossest thing you've ever said to me.
they neither set the show up properly nor tore it down in a safe and sanitary manner. Like these are the bare minimums. Like these are the bare minimums, and you didn't
So
meet these.
for teardown for the show that we're involved in, we go booth to booth, look the motherfuckers in their face, in their eyeballs, and say,
Right.
this is how you break it down. If you break it down any other way than exactly what we're saying, I'm going to come to your house and tickle your dog or whatever. I don't threaten people very often. So like, I don't understand why at a place with microphones and a stage and preferably someone in charge, that no one could have said, hey y'all, no human soup, please.
The thing is, I think they didn't know how to handle the bags, so they gathered them and piled them instead of taking like one trash can, dumping it in the dumpster. They just gathered and piled, and then the pile sat and leaked.
The more you talk, the more I want to puke.
I'm
I'm just throwing it out.
Ben,
Yes,
for
sir.
the record, if you need some help with some training on how to threaten people, I know a guy that's 5 feet tall. They can get up on stage and teach you how to threaten women.
This is not my forte. I'm not a threatener. It's just
I know
never
a
been
guy.
what I'm good at.
I know a guy. All right,
You
I
know a
got a
guy.
guy.
Well, you
Got a guy, right?
that they didn't know how to dispose of it, Fawn, when you were breaking down
Oh, yeah.
whatever night it was,
Yep.
and he was trying to take it, and you were like, "Hey, no, that's got contaminants in it. Just leave it
She's
here."
so sweet. She's so sweet all the time. She
Yeah.
was all nice about it.
You
She's
were
like, no, this has got contaminants. And he was like, put it in the bag. And she's like, no, I'll take
sweetie.
it out later. And he was like, no, just put it in this bag. And Juan's like, I got it.
And then he left
Like,
that trash can and you were like, okay.
I'll take it all out. I got that's fun too. Like I'll just do it all.
I've got
For
the
everyone.
Brent, I've got the Brian Jen soup. I got this. I got it.
Look, I'm familiar enough with this
Yeah,
soup.
at least that's local
deal
soup.
with it.
I'm okay with
I'll
local
touch this
soup.
soup.
If I
I'll
know
touch
your
this
first name, I'm in your soup. I'm fine with that. But
Yeah.
stranger soup is disgusting. And we're talking convention stranger soup.
And then we
Yeah.
got the swirl.
No.
Swirl.
That's everything
We got it.
Oh.
That was material. I heard it.
Oh,
That had
No, it was-
consistency.
It was bad.
oh man.
All right, guys, we've
All right.
almost made it to the end of
All
the day. So we're at the end of Sunday.
But wait this long.
I feel like I'm watching Billy Mays trying to sell me a ShamWow on TV. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Also makes julienne fries. No. Stop, Brian. You're gonna make me puke.
I saw it as the problem. I saw the soup. All right. I saw it with my own eyeballs.
I've got no visual reference. All right, enough.
Okay, we got to get serious again.
Serious, yeah, that's
Reel
what we
it in.
do. That's what we do.
Okay, so at the end of all of this, we've talked several times about how nice the facilities were, how well kept they were, how well maintained they were. In order for this to happen, facilities usually need to be secure, correct? That usually means that gates lock, correct? So like a thing with secure gates, sometimes they have barbed wire at the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So imagine being an artist who traveled in with your team and your equipment, and now you're locked in and you have to lift everything up and over said locked barbed wire gates to get to your Uber that's waiting on the other side.
To be honest, it was like, if you picture like an ice commercial, right? And you've got the getaway car on the other side of the fence so that all the bosses have to get through and everybody can jump in and peel out and drive away. It's kind of like that.
This was Megan's team, Todd. You'll have to ask her about it. They had to load up all of their equipment up and over the fence to get it to their Uber because they literally locked everybody in. Like, so
I would have looked my
off,
Uber in the face and would have been like, hey, where's the closest Lowe's? And can I contract you to go get me an angle grinder? A battery powered one, preferably. Here's 350 should cover it. We're in Florida. Here's 4.
I mean,
I'd have been out that motherfucker.
By the end of it, our group, we were like, anytime the guy, I think he was like the engineer of the building, the one that was like security. Like, I don't know for sure what he did, but he knew what was up.
You know what he
had
did
the-
was
he had
fed
the-
up. That's what
Yeah.
he did.
He had the sentry shirt on, but he just hung out at our booth. We had a pretty good shot, like an angle of everything, and you could see the whole room, and we were pretty much right in the middle. But like, he was the one giving us the most juicy, most accurate gossip the whole time.
Guess
Like,
what
he was
bullshit
like-
I just had to deal with.
Yep.
Yep.
He was our after threatening to almost arrest me, he was our inside scoop.
Brunch hookers.
Brunch hookers. Yeah.
Honestly,
Honestly, that's a new one. Brunch hookers.
I think it's my next band, to be honest with you.
I'd come listen to him play.
Thanks. We're horrible, but yeah, seems to be par for the course.
I did feel really bad for that security guard though, because he was very upset about the food situation. Like he
Yeah.
went on about the fact that he, like the security guards, the vendors, because the actual, you know, when you go to a fairgrounds or a convention center, they always have their own like food area. Like it's always in the back, always kind of creepy. There's always a guy that has 3 fingers serving you French fries. Like,
Smells like
you know,
sausage.
yeah.
When there is no sausage.
But because he didn't pay them, they didn't show up on Friday. And so that he was like, the guy was super upset about it. And I had seen him walk into the bathroom one of the times, and he told me again about how there was no food and that I shouldn't go outside.
Well, yeah,
And I was like,
because their contract says they can't leave. They're security guards.
yeah.
Like
Well-
they're not allowed to leave, and they also can't get food.
Right.
Let me tell you, as somebody who's worked a bajillion shitty events as a security guard, a lot of times that's all you got to look forward into.
Right. Yeah.
So
And I
you're
was-
there, you're standing in the same spot for 12 hours and you were promised a shitty chili Philly cheesesteak. You want that. That's your
Well,
day. It's going to
Yeah.
make up for the $22.50 you're making on the entire day. I was promised 4 Gatorades and a fucking sandwich. Bring me my sandwich. That brings my average up to about $36 for the day at
Yeah.
fair prices.
I did ask him, I was like, hey, the next time we order food, I can come and find you if you want me to get you something. Cause I knew we hadn't ordered food yet. And he was like, no, I'm going to fight. Like, and then he got like upset. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I was just trying to be nice. I was listening to your event. My bad.
Right.
Sorry you couldn't get tacos. Brian kept promising Fawn and I tacos. And then he even sent us out there. And the guy was like, no tacos. Sorry.
No,
We're out of
man.
tacos.
We're out of tacos.
Yeah.
Every
No
single
tacos.
No tacos.
See, I again would have been Ubering to Walmart and I would have bought a package of meat and a briquette of charcoal. I'd have been
We
out
had
there
enough
selling
room.
hot dogs and hamburgers.
But
Like,
we had enough room in our thing. We did not think smart. We could have charged $1
Oh
for
my
it,
God,
and
we
we
would've
could have
made so
made
much
so
money.
much money.
just walking around with like your coat on and open it up like
Want a hot dog?
You just got like bacon hanging from strings. I'd
right.
to be honest, I would. At that point, like,
He did make
That's
sure there
a
was
lot.
booze though. There was 3
yeah,
different.
there was a $9 Budweiser.
Well, no, and then he had that alcohol cart was where the Doc Ountel lookalike was
Yeah.
at the.
Oh, yeah,
I
there was
forgot all
yeah.
about him.
Wait,
Yeah.
the Tiger Queen was there or King?
Yeah.
Or what are we calling that guy?
It
Yep.
could have been his taller brother.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
He's very muscular though. Remember, Fawn? That's on his Wikipedia. Make sure to
It says in Doc Antle, like the guy with the white hair and cheesy soul patch right here.
Yeah.
You know the one.
Yeah.
Soul patches creep me out. But anyways, he has one.
Fair, I guess is the right word.
buttons. Belly buttons.
Belly buttons, just belly buttons.
Ben already knows how I feel about weird belly buttons.
Really?
I know. Now I'm gonna mess up my belly button and I'm gonna grow a soul patch.
Yes. Can we do it for Halloween next year? We're
Done.
going as couples costumes,
you guys are
bud. We're
changing
in.
the way you
Done.
look to repulse me further.
Absolutely.
Good call. Good
Like,
call.
absolutely. Have we met, Fawn?
I support this message.
And then you've got to
Yes.
have her tattoo one of the circle tattoos around your belly button.
Yep.
Godsmack tattoos for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh goodness. Oh, so I kind of didn't realize we're looking at live footage
Yeah,
of.
this is. I just brought up. Some
Is this
of
in
the
a
footage
high
I
school
took.
gym?
No, it's at the exhibition hall at the fairground.
Oh,
This is
wow.
where they have 4-H and pie bake-offs and craft
I
projects.
rented this venue for a boxing event one time. I promise you. I
Guys,
promise you.
this is where the magic happens. Okay.
By the magic, you mean the bullshit, right?
This is where the magic happens. This is where the brunch hookers live.
So it's a funny thing. Like when you go to a convention, you always kind of have to be prepared to like work with the unpredictable or
To a
work with
degree.
things that are unplanned. So like as a person showing up at a convention, I know I'm going to have to go with the flow and roll with it. But this whole weekend was really like, what's going to happen next? Oh, that happened. Oh, that didn't happen yet, but let's give it 5 minutes.
You know what you should have played was convention bingo.
Oh
Yes.
man.
Next
Nobody's
time.
gonna be able to
And
Oh
set
my
up
God.
a registry
Followers.
for Hell City. We'll make a convention bingo of things that could happen or need to happen.
Well,
And
see,
we'll
but
just start
that-
setting
That's
people
not
in.
fair though, because
But that would be pleasant events at Hell
Yeah.
City. Yeah, we'd be like, oh, we had a good time at this.
Yeah,
Check.
like one of our boxes will be like have power. Another one will be like have trash cans. Another one will be like no prostitution bus. And I'm like, oh, did you get the no prostitution bus? Like, yeah, I got that one too.
Got
Like,
that one checked, bruh. Saw no soup. Saw no soup all weekend. Check.
Oh,
There's like, you know what, we're gonna put little single serve solidifiers in all of our welcome packets. So like we don't even ever have to deal with human soup ever again. Like after seeing people deal with human soup inappropriately, it's like, let's just eliminate the soup. issue.
Let's just not.
Let's make it human jello.
Can we just
Then it
not?
doesn't run and drip.
Well, isn't it? Most of those solidifiers also have a decontamination, don't they? They have a Maticide-esque style.
No, I don't think. And if they did, I wouldn't trust it.
Fair bet. I was asking, not telling.
Yeah.
Okay. Even still, I'd rather deal with gel than soup.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Like diapers exist for a reason. You put a diaper on your kid, the gel absorbs
Let
the
me
piddle,
tell you.
and then you don't have a pee spot on your floor.
Pea spot on the floor of my car, because that's the best thing diapers are for. Let me tell you. Just road trip that fucker up. Wrap it up, pee in a bag. It's great.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen the high altitude pee bags? Because you're not allowed to pee in like national forests now, and like a lot of like back trail wood stuff. They make you take these special bags to urinate, defecate in, so you're not leaving your remains behind. Because too many people don't know how to use a fucking shovel. Sorry, pet peeve.
No.
You know how I feel about bad parking? I feel like bad pooping would be even worse.
Well, now,
on my
okay.
list.
Hey, your goal is to make your kit as light as possible, light and fast, right? Now, hey, I know you're carrying all this water weight, but now also carry your extra weight of your water weight that you disposed of on top of your solid food that you thought you were going to be able to lighten your load through the trip. You're actually making it heavier as you go because you have to resupply with food, and now you got poop.
I like
There
the
you go.
little hole method.
On top of, you got to put this in with your gear.
I like the little
I hope
hole
it doesn't
method
break.
better.
Ding, ding,
Oh,
ding.
this is Gil Monty.
Oh, hi, Gil.
Yep.
I was actually kind of talking trash in this moment. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Let's see if I can turn it up.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Too low.
Yeah, I don't think the sound's broadcasting anywhere other than through the camera.
It's okay. It wasn't, you know how they say if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go live last Thursday. That's
Well-
why I didn't join you guys. Like I was ready and listening and I was following the conversation so I could jump on in seamlessly. And then I got there and it was like, flea market glory.
I noticed the podcast group message about 40 minutes deep being 70 or so I'm exaggerating, but being 70 or so text messages deep. And I was like, the fuck is going on? Jordan gave me the don't look at it. Like, we'll talk about it later.
This is
We don't know
bad.
how far we're going to bash this thing yet.
I really thought after the first night, like seeing how unprepared everything was, I really thought there was going to be like I said earlier, like that 16 hours of miracle and his crew was going to get in there and make it happen. And that is not.
And the answer
I mean,
was no.
It happened, but it was like all the artists were like, well, we're here. Our clients are here. My client's going to be here tomorrow. But I just feel like as a tattooer, I'm incredibly grateful that like it's you guys that we were working on, not that you deserved this kind of like rigmarole, but like if it had been a first time introduction to a new client.
Yeah, what
or
if
a
you
new
wouldn't have been
collector,
buddies first? What if you were meeting them there
I
for
would
the
be
first
so
time and
embarrassed. I
having
mean,
to
I
justify
am
this
embarrassed
situation?
that this went down the way that it happened, but I would have been even more embarrassed if it was, like
Yeah.
my first impression with somebody, or like
You didn't roll punches, like
Yeah.
if we got there, we were like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like Brian and I are very blessed in order to collect our art and be able to afford it. We work really hard for what we have and we're able to go to, you're like, hey, let's get, we're doing this contention. Let's get tattooed there. I'm like, heck yes, let's do this. This sounds like a fun adventure. But there are some people who, they save and work so
Mhm.
hard for it. And if you roll in and you're like, excuse me? Or
Right.
even like the artist that showed up. I can't imagine Fawn being an artist and like showing up, like you said, in the car when we were leaving, having $100 in your tank and being like, I gotta make money. And then you don't get anybody because the show is so
Yeah.
bad. It becomes
Mhm.
to get your flash. Nobody does anything, so that you leave being like, awesome, I made no money on this.
Mhm.
It's not the kind of community, like I feel like that's not the community of the tattoo industry. And
Well, I think you just touched on something there.
yeah,
It was the community that made that show.
absolutely.
Because if those artists would have walked in and been like, motherfuck this, which they would have had every right to do, not set up their booth, not set up the thing, not done anything, called their clients and canceled the whole thing, it could have been even worse. Because
right.
when you go into a half-filled room that looks like that, and the people that have decided to stay are now more angry and more upset, and there's no bounce back from that.
More
I think it speaks
disrespected.
right. I think it speaks volumes of the caliber of the people that were there that still took the time to set up their own tent, set up their own table, set up their own
FEMA tent.
set up their own power, run their own gigs, do their own thing, and that is what our community is the best about. It might be shitty, but we're in shitty together. Let's hold each other's heads up and get this fucking done.
And you
that,
could
to me, done.
Well, that says
absolutely.
a lot about their professionalism, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, to deal with what they dealt with and still hold their heads up and try to make it go, you know, that says a lot about every person, every artist that was there, anyone that had something to do with it. You know, I mean, Megan and Steve went there to the judge. You know, they rolled with it. You know, they had a good time. She brought her best friend down to it and that, you know, I mean, they all still rolled with it and dealt with it, you know. But
now,
again,
imagine if everybody there was like me and walked in there and was like, motherfuck every second of this. It would have been horrible. It would have been absolutely wretched, and it would have ruined it even worse.
We don't hear from the people like that because they walked in and they were like, what? And left.
Right.
We don't get the reviews
Right.
from those people
Right.
because they walked in, made a lap around, got something to drink, and
I told you
out.
at their own table, like, and they were like, no, not today.
How about no? So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, and I feel like I did. You were in the mid sentence, and I was like, "You are right."
No.
Oh, there's Brian.
Oh yeah, well, look at that guy.
Would you look at that?
For your post on a chair.
Yeah, that's pre throwing a chair. Thank you very much. For the record, I just tossed it briskly, like I
Yeah,
briskly
it was just a forceful shove.
Shove.
It was more of the like
harsh.
me saying fucking send somebody and saying it like 3 more times to make sure you heard me. But for the record, fun, no one will ever point at you again and say they're gonna make you do
Oh
anything.
my gosh, this is our cord situation. She walked up on when Derb handed me like a pile of cords and he was like, here, there's a charger in here. And I'm like, what is this? My iPad cords. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sort these for you. There's like a mouse with a cord on it. And I looked at him, I'm like, why do you
I was
have
like,
a
what
mouse
century
with
is
a
this, bro?
cord?
And he was like, oh, I like the corded ones. I was like, nobody has a
Wow.
corded mouse anymore. Like,
I don't even
Wow.
have a corded mouse. Look at this. It's the old guy.
Jeez.
Great.
Jeez. This looks.
it looks so bad. Look how narrow the aisles are. Oh my
Well,
God.
it's because there was no direction and tables were just haphazardly put up.
like
This
I
is the
said, some of
first
the
day of
aisles,
judging.
they dead ended. You got like trapped and you were like, wait a minute. Like, it was like the labyrinth. And then you were like, well, I guess I don't get to like save my baby brother anymore. Like,
Amelia.
There were some very like beautiful pieces though.
yeah. There he is, Fawn, red shirt.
Serious
I saw him.
look.
Oh, I saw him.
I saw him. Yo, you're 5 foot, buddy.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw him.
red shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's him.
Point at me. I dare you.
Yeah, there, point. Dare you.
Going to.
Oh,
Get
man, we
ready.
got. It's like, do your parents know you're emceeing this? Isn't it? Passion?
You did say that you
I did.
could help him
Yeah,
out of it.
Yeah, I told the sheriff's department. I was like, what are you gonna MC his way out of a playpen?
Steve's giving Derb shit about.
Oh, you know, Durboy steps away when one of his pieces comes up.
Oh yeah, but I like how Steve was like, "Are you stepping away?"
This really is a nice piece. I mean, I feel
It
like we
is.
see it all the time, but like you guys are building something really cool, Brian.
God,
I don't know. I
I'd-
thought it was prison tat.
I'd beg that guy who that guy is, but he looks pretty bangable to me.
I did that.
See, there were good. There were highlights of the weekend, but it was really
Amelia.
like we suffered through and made the best. But
I'm just mad I missed the brunch hooker. Maybe if I would have went at breakfast, I could have gone first.
I'm honestly kind of glad I missed the brunch hooker.
Never.
I'm a little offended that she didn't proposition him. Right, I consider us good-looking dudes, and we never even got propositioned. Yeah, we
What
went
do I
outside.
look like, a cop? Come on.
Right? Like, yeah, thank you very much. Like, well, I'm not good enough to go in the back of a U-Haul. Like,
Jeez, you think
That's
I
because Fawn and
wouldn't?
I crammed for style. We were always
oh
with you.
yeah, we always had these.
That's
Very
what it
true.
was.
You brought sand to the beach, buddy. That was your fault.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. See, that's the guy.
Look at
That's the
this
guy that
suit.
they forgot to call on stage,
very
and he was pissed. But look at his suit. I'd be pissed. Look at that thing.
He's put so much work into it. Have you ever seen this guy before, Todd?
I've seen this guy before.
You've seen him before? I'm sure I've seen this in magazines. I don't think I've seen him in person.
I want to know where he got his.
We
I
looked
what
it
are we-
up.
what are we-
seen him out in LA.
It started with an F. His little thong thing.
Yes, thank you. I didn't want to be disrespectful and call it a diaper, but that's. I want
We
to know where he
looked it
got
up.
his diaper at.
We looked
'cause
it
I want
up.
one.
We looked it up and I forgot already.
Yeah, I did too. It was really hard to say.
It was really hard to say.
We just is man thong.
I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to have to buy some tattoo competition friendly attire that allows things to be encapsulated that are supposed to be, while allowing the rest of the collection to be displayed.
Yeah, that's fair.
You want a banana hammock?
I don't know. See,
I can find you a really cool
I-
one online.
I kind of want one with like a lion head stuffed
Yeah.
on the front to just kind of like.
I only have a
Distract.
couple thongs and I can only wear them like for Health City. Like that's the only time you get to see me that naked is for like Health City or like maybe Chris's show next year. If I get involved in the competitions, I'll get down to just my undies. But
Well, the last time we went, I wasn't planning on competing, and then you're like fighting your like I had boxer briefs on. And they're like, show you my tattoos. I'm like, I don't even know where they all are. Hold on. And you're like ripping your pants, trying to show your legs, and you popped out the other side. Now they saw more tattoos than they wanted to. And
Yep.
it's a long day. He is
God,
tight.
look at him. I just want to
He's a
fucking.
little
to be
person.
fair, she's bigger than me though. She probably
don't-
is about 6'1" or 6'2". She's a tall lady.
That
But
is
yes.
amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that
this-
Medusa.
Yeah, this is a
Wow.
really, really nice piece. It moves really nicely with her.
Yeah, it just
She took
fits.
a lot of awards for
Yeah,
this
it
piece.
fits well where it is.
Mhm. Nicely done. And I like that they made her a serpent too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Do you know what I don't like doing? Legs. You know what I'm good at? Snakes.
Right together.
Oh, really nice.
Looking good. Looking good. Competitions are always a little bit awkward in my mind because you're like, what do I do with my hands? And do I need to turn or did you see it? Or okay, bye.
Do I show the camera? Do I not show the camera? Which camera is the real one?
Is there a camera?
Who are you? That's what I get. Who are you? I have a camera in my hand.
That's
Okay.
that's who I am. I'm the camera person. Ooh.
Yes, there was some
Face
really,
tatty
really
Poe.
nice.
All right.
Yeah, there was some really nice work being done.
Fuck. Can we do a forehead mandala?
On you?
Yes.
You really want a mandala
In,
on
like,
your
purple.
forehead? No, you don't.
No, I don't.
You're
but
not.
it was worth talking about.
You're not ready for that.
I'm ready. I'll never be ready for that. What are you talking
When
about?
you're ready, I'd love to do it.
When I'm independently wealthy and dying, I'll let you tattoo my forehead. I still need to be employable.
This is me zooming in with the camera that Lauren loves. Look at how nice that is. That gauze came out great.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a really impressive piece.
I like the heavy saturation, but with still so many subtle details. Like
Yeah,
that's
when you
that's
really
what's
get in
missing
close.
from most saturated pieces is that top layer of glisten, for lack of a better term.
Ooh, the glisten.
A lot of white.
Lot of whites.
A lot of white.
I'm just gonna show you this one while I'm here too.
And then he's moving too fast for me to get it to focus. Sorry, I'm a horrible cameraman.
Focus.
You could see if we were to go back just a little bit, you could see how busy the room really was. Like those people up by the stage are about it. Outside of that, there will be like one or two people in each of the aisles. So like, yes, there were people there, but
Yeah. I was just thinking if there was a market, we should capitalize on it and all that, but whatever. Well, at least the people that are there aren't totally pissed off looking.
look at it though. Like,
Would you just
My God, it does look like a flea market.
I told
would you
you.
look at that? Looks like a craft bazaar at
It does
the,
look like there.
the local high school.
look, that's the backdrop for the fashion show.
Well, that's the prom. That's the picture you get. That's when you get your picture for the prom.
They missed the balloon arch. Where's the balloon arch? It's the only thing missing.
I don't see any hip to hip for the prom photos. I don't see any hip to butt contact.
Right.
I wonder how much you paid for that metal sculpture that says Ink the Bay.
Oh, they didn't call back yet.
I don't know. I'm assuming not.
Stu spun. He kept making it spin the first day, and then he just kind of gave up.
Of course it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you paid extra.
He's got some
I could see you
look on those legs.
behind you.
Paid extra.
You zoomed on those legs, right? Please say
I
it did
think
not
so.
hurt. I've seen that one.
Todd's like, come on.
There we
Come
go.
on.
There
There's
we
the other
go.
girl. No, her work's really nice.
Man, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, yeah, I missed all the horror one.
Well, I like that.
I love large portraits.
It's so cool to get up on stage with the camera, because even if you're standing like right down in front of the stage, sometimes you don't see this stuff unless the promoter thinks ahead to have like a camera and projectors so the crowd can see it.
Right.
Nifty.
I think this is a Dragon Ball Z, I believe.
Gotcha. I watched that show once.
I feel like I need to start it from the beginning because I've got so many clients that are into it and they talk about it so passionately that I'm starting to understand the storyline. Like, maybe I just need to start this nerdiness from the beginning and actually like follow it like I'm following a story.
Right. Oh, goodness gracious.
Hi, Samelia.
I thought this one was kind of cool. It's like a trash polka-y kind of deer hunter. I think that might be a boar down in the corner.
Come on, Mouse. Let's go. You want out? Hey.
Todd's dogs run the show.
Oh.
Got it.
Yeah, there was some really, really nice work there. Like as much fun poking as we can do about how like unorganized the event was, there was still some really good work being done. A lot of rad people hanging out, sharing stories.
Yeah, he invited some cool people. Some cool people showed up.
I mean, he did know the right people to invite, I guess. We made it happen. We made it be a good time.
Yeah.
But like usually you just show up and you have a good time. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to you don't have to apologize.
Keep a good time rolling.
Yeah. Usually you don't have to apologize to your collectors for like things that aren't going right or
I know, I felt so bad. You guys kept apologizing. I'm like, we're just here for this, like, we're just here for the party. Let's go. Let's see what happens next. Oh, it gets better.
just when we think it's going to be smooth sailing. But our flight back was great with a little turbulence, but we had a really nice landing considering. Let's see. We did. We did bond. We're bonded now. We survived the Tattoo Fire Fest 2022. I should get us something made that says like survivors of.
What we should have done is we should have had those t-shirts that they were making by the door. We should have each gotten one made and then we could have put I survived on top of it.
Oh my God, yes.
I got one. I don't know if Derb got one too.
He did. He
make
used it
some.
to like wrap stuff in.
Maybe I could
That's
make
right.
us some buttons. I could make some buttons and we could send buttons to everybody that survived.
Yep.
Do you remember the old like Kings Island photos that they took? The I survived the beast.
Yeah, the big oversized ones.
I remember that.
Yeah,
That's
let's
what
make
we
that
need.
happen.
I rode the beast the first year it opened up.
I was too.
Oh, do you guys want to see some of the fashion show?
Oh God.
You want to see some of the fashion show?
There was a fashion show?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Every day.
paid close attention. One of these girls is the one that was in the trailer.
I don't know how
Oh.
long I filmed this.
She advertising?
We don't know. We were more concerned with the horses at this point.
Was
Right.
We're
her
over it.
shirt was
But
her
then the
shirt
end-
a U-Haul shirt? Because that would be epic.
The best part was the MC was so, I don't even know like how to say it. He was just being kind of like rude to the tattoo artist in the way of him being like, yeah, these designers custom made with their hands, these designs or something, like just how he
Oh,
was
yeah.
saying it. And you were just like, and Fawn, I was like, you better start tattooing with your feet. Like
Custom design.
you are not doing it.
I was like, I'd like to see some
There's
design work that
Megan.
isn't custom. Isn't that the definition of design? To
No.
make from scratch?
Definitely not.
No.
Yeah, what do you know? Have you ever
Well,
put on Inked in the Bay? You don't know anything.
What did he say when they with the portraits, like the people who had done the canvases? He was saying something ridiculous about like how they were hand sketched and
Oh,
how
he
the
said the same
artist.
thing. Yeah, he was like
Yeah.
hand sketched with their own two hands. It's like,
Well, and then
how
how the
else would you-
artist had,
how else would you
How
expect?
else you gonna do it?
yeah, and he was like, and the artists have taken like painstakingly drawn this, and I kind of looked at Fawn being like, I'm pretty sure like you didn't draw anything on me. I feel like you just were
No.
like, meh, like
I
not. at all.
Googled it and hit print.
Yeah,
Fucking derb.
Yeah.
I'll
Took the
tell
words
ya.
from my mouth. Fucking
We had the best situation out of this rigmarole. We had a great situation in our little middle corner.
I'm kind of mad I didn't get to see the full jeans and t-shirt Fupa show.
I mean, whew.
yeah.
Oh, it got real food.
This girl, the one in the black tank top here, she was miserable all weekend. She was getting worked on,
Oh
but she
my
was
gosh.
just like
That one,
miserable.
the color
I
portrait
was-
there.
She's off the screen now,
Gotcha.
but the judge is
No, the
looking at
next.
her.
Oh, Fawn's all half naked in the background.
I was trying to
Oh,
get the Fawn the whole time.
Brian's
I was filming this,
playing
but everybody kept
cameraman.
Gotcha.
moving,
That's what
and I
this
was like,
is.
stop.
Yeah.
So I kept trying to get Fawn, but everybody kept moving. And then finally I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to the other side of the stage. And then I got a really good shot. This whole time I was trying to be
This girl
nice.
right here. She was miserable, but I was super jelly because she had like a whole blanket burrito situation happening. So I was jelly of the blanket burrito situation.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, dude, just keep moving. Just keep fucking moving where I'm trying to move. Like,
That's when you just get on stage and act like you work there, bud.
Oh, we lost Jen and Brian.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
No.
She's back.
There they are.
oh, we get to see the Fawn butt shuffle here.
I don't know why it's sideways.
It's bad. Brian was holding the camera, so I felt compelled to shake my booty too.
You've been in Florida for too long at
I
this
was in
point.
Florida. This is
Wow, it's
Friday.
11
This is
Exactly.
Friday.
That's my point.
3 more days, she would have been at the strip club on stage.
Oh God. I think it would have taken more than 3 days for sure.
Aren't your arms tired yet?
I mean, I'm just holding them behind my head.
Like I said, I guess I'm fat. So, I mean, your little baby twig arms probably aren't as hard to hold up there.
I mean, now they narrow it down. This is after you know what? This was Saturday because we didn't have enough time to do these on Friday. So I was lined up in
This is bleed
stage.
over.
I was lined up in stage Friday, and then we had to start the tattoo competitions with this category the next day. And then it was such a rigmarole. I was like, no way am I entering any of the other ones.
Like, never,
It's not-
never
nah.
mind.
Like,
Never
I don't
mind.
need no part of this. This is mm-mm.
And here's a leg.
Brian, you're our new official cameraman.
Yes, sir.
Wait for it. I was
Rock
finally like
there.
I was done being nice, and I was like, "Fuck this." There was a bunch of short people to my left. And I was like, I'm just standing in front of you. I'm bigger than you. I was like, nope, I'm over it. Fuck
Deal
you guys.
with it.
Walked right in front of them. It's like, perfect.
Nice. Those have healed so well.
Yeah. I mean, Guy's a wizard, though.
True.
I couldn't imagine just sitting. And there it is. I couldn't imagine just sitting with my pits out like that though for so long.
I mean, we did it in layers, so
Yeah.
it's not like any one session was like going all the way to town, but it was a lot. Most of that piece is my ribs, so that was the
Right.
hardest challenge.
Is she pregnant?
This was a nice piece. I thought of you when I saw it, Ben.
Panda bears.
nice.
I love the pandas.
I too.
This isn't the tattoo of the day competition, is it?
No, this is
Okay,
the
thank
dark
goodness.
canvas that I was telling you about.
Oh,
Where like this black and gray, it's good enough to be next to all the other black and gray on other skin types. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, they're really the tattoos that are in the competition are really nice work and stand out just as good as they would next to a collector with,
Well, that
black and
panda
gray
one-
on white skin.
That panda would definitely.
Mhm.
That Akeda.
Yeah, she had two. It actually was a pretty nice AK, but she had
Technically,
a,
I think
she
it's
had
an
a-
SKS. I'm
she
just
had
guessing from
a
the distance here.
portrait as well, I think. I don't know.
Oh no, I don't know the name of it. I just know the sound it
Here's
makes.
Megan right after Gil finished her piece.
I'd let Gil tattoo.
What'd she get?
These two little skulls right here, one for her, one for Steve. Two little hearts.
That's dope.
Yeah, I'd let that happen for sure.
Look at him.
He's so proud. The little smile.
Didn't she get her hand tattooed though too?
Yeah, she got a little, I think a match, a struck match.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool.
Well, she
Come on
was
over,
talking,
Gil.
and she was when I got tattooed by her. When we finished on my neck, she was complaining that she hadn't been tattooed in so long. I go, well, that's your fault.
Right.
No one's
Making-
stopping you.
Making up for it.
I always seem to
It's
get
like a-
more tattooed when I'm not planning tattoos. And when I'm like, okay, it's time to get tattooed, it doesn't happen. Right. We set or toss the time. I'm properly prepared for all this. It never works out that way.
Yeah, it does for me. I mean, I have to plan the shit out, man. I just can't jump into them,
Right.
And well, I don't want to sound like an arrogant little prick, but I've got so
Bring
many
it,
hours
Todd. We
on
know
me
you.
now. But I can call any artist up, and they're pretty much going to let me get me in.
Right.
So,
Well, Ben's got the other situation. Like he's already got sessions paid for and like ready to go. And
Just
he's
got to
like,
show up.
We'll work on
We'll
it
get
anytime,
there.
whenever.
And I have been very, very, very fortunate that I've fell into an awesome circle of tattooers first.
Ben's like, I fell into this puddle of tattoos.
Yeah, like I didn't plan this. It just happened this way.
This human
I'm-
puddle.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just very lucky that home base is packed full of these fuckers, and I don't have to travel. I don't have to look around. I don't have to second guess. I can call and be like, "Hey, bored Tuesday? Let's." And that's how I like to live my life anyway. Not that the travel isn't worth it. Not that seeking out your favorite artist isn't worth it. But to me, a lot of it has to do with my connection to the person tattooing me.
Mhm.
It is about the bond. It is about the friendship. It is about that. And I'm not saying that it can't be any other way, but for me personally, that's how it tends to work out in my world.
That's something that Jen and Brian and I and Derb, obviously, that's something that we were kind of talking about is how you start your tattoo collection journey with like certain expectations and certain things that you're going to receive, but like there's all these accidental things that you receive. You receive like all the spiritual growth, you
Yeah.
receive all the patience that you learn, but then there's inevitably this connection to another person that you get to share all of these like intimate personal hours with, all
Yeah.
of those vulnerable moments that you're sharing with another person. And, you know, I think it makes the tattoo better. And I think it makes the tattoo more special when that connection happens with your artist. And I think that's one of the things that makes it as addictive as anything else, because that connection's there. And like, you know, we can hang out. I mean, you and I, for example, we can hang out, or like Brian and Jen, we can hang out, but those hours aren't the same as when it's like that focused, concentrated time together when we're both working towards a goal.
Right.
And within that goal, there's all of these other little gifts that come along with it.
Well, our lives overlap in a lot of other areas, and we're fortunate for that. But a lot of times that's not how it is. And so when you're dealing with somebody that your dedicated bonding time, for lack of a better term, is your tattoo session, not that you can't hang out, not that you're paying for their company or anything along those lines, but sometimes the only time that me and, we'll say, Rich Cook have dedicated time to hang out anymore, because we both live super crazy busy lives, and it's hard for us to be available at the same times. And it's hey bud, this is our time to hang out. This is our time to be us. And I look forward to that a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
Even if I see you every other day, that's our time. Like
I feel like that's one of those things I didn't know, like even becoming a tattooer, I didn't know that I was going to make these connections with my clients. And I didn't know that, like, you know, on a professional level, it's very easy to keep like client friend. It's very easy to make those distinctions. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking retail, if you're talking business, it's like, this is my personal friend. This is my business colleague. We are good friends, but that is a business colleague. And with tattooing, that line becomes so blurred because you share so many experiences. That, like, back to the trauma bond, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So our daughter, we stopped at an indoor water park, long story short, and we're staying the night here. And our daughter, when we came up to do this call, was with her grandmother, and she tripped and fell coming out of the water park and like knocked one of her tooth halfway out.
Oh no.
Your tooth. So then she just walked in here. Where's your tooth, baby? Let me see it. Where's your tooth?
I put it under my bed.
Oh, you already put it under your pillow. Well, she just came up to me and Dad, my tooth's loose. And I was like, oh, this tooth? And I grabbed it and just pulled it right out of her mouth.
Kids are so
Oh goodness.
So then she immediately put it under her bed pillow and was like, so when do I get money?
Yeah.
Where's my 5 spot, Poppy?
Yep. She kept wanting Brian
Where's
to pull
the
it out. And I
tooth
was like, hold on, he's almost done.
Let me see. Yeah. Oh, Dad dropped it.
Yeah. So that's our life. So
Got
My
your tooth.
goodness. How
Shared
old?
drama.
Is that a
she's
phone?
6.
She's 6. I have a 4-year-old.
Okay. Yeah. So she's 6 and she's definitely
Stand up,
spoiled.
stand up, it looks okay.
But we came up and they were like, they came up early. That's what all the commotion was. And it's because she fell and knocked her tooth out.
Oh goodness.
Aw.
Poor girl.
She got loose and
She
the dad
knocked it
pulled it the
loose,
right way out.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
Well,
What's it gonna do? Dangle? No, get the
Yeah,
thing in
right.
the face.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I hope she's all right. I hope it wasn't too painful.
She's tough. But sorry, that was our bad. My bad.
No, there's no bads.
okay.
Kids always first.
that's
Good jazz
that's
for
real
sure.
life, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Since you guys were in Tampa for the crazy shenanigans, was there anything that you wanted to share or talk about, or any point of view that you feel like needs to be out there that we haven't talked about yet? Like as a collector, you know, from your guys' point of views, what are things that you appreciate, don't appreciate, you know?
So like you were saying, Fawn, and we talked about it a little bit while we were there, like I super appreciate the relationship that the 4 of us have. Obviously, you know, show to show from, you know, the studio till now, like you said, I mean, I've spent, as of this show now, I've spent 70 hours with Derb getting tattooed. Like that is unreal, you know, like 70 hours with him putting a needle in my body, you know, like, and I don't know. It just, I agree. Like, obviously, I think a lot of people would say this, but I know you guys don't understand what I mean. Like, Derb has become a very close friend of mine, not just because he's my tattoo artist, but because we've spent so much time together, like just talking about stuff and hanging out and like making jokes and like, yeah, you know, like we all joked and talked. Like, this event was very, very odd, but I had so much fun.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I had so much fun.
I wouldn't.
I would go back. Like
Yeah.
I would if I now knowing what I know, I would
I'd
go
still
back.
go
and do it.
back. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed myself. I salute all the artists that took like you said, they got there and they were like, we're gonna make this work. Like we're gonna, we're here for our collectors. We're here for our clients. Like we're making sure that like they're having the best experience they can, which is super awesome. It makes for a great community, and it definitely. I feel like if people saw that community and sense of pride that all these artists have, or even the collectors have, and they showed that to the people who are like, this is a dirty event, or that, you know what I mean? Like saying,
Right.
That this is going to be a rough event. Instead, if they looked at the past and they looked at the art and they saw just what it took for them, like these people just to stay and come together, like our booth didn't even have power till Saturday, So if you guys didn't have batteries, you wouldn't have tattooed. Like it just,
Yeah.
Well, that and like this is another good example. Is the last thing I guess we'll say is like before I had any tattoos, obviously I was in the military, I was in the infantry for 11 years. So all my buddies had tattoos. So I never had a stigma about it, but like my parents are old school, like having tattoos, you can't get a job. Like people with tattoos are fucking criminals. People, all that stigma. And when I actually thought about this when we were standing outside that night and that tattoo artist came up to you and Jen and was like, oh, your Edward Scissorhands is so much better than mine.
Yeah.
Like, but I was sitting there listening to them talk and I was like, these guys are like, all face tatted up and everything. And like, if you looked
They
at
were
them, you might be like, who are these guys? But like, they were just like the nicest guys ever.
Yep.
Like, and that's one thing that I've come to appreciate about what we've done and like going to Detroit, hanging out in the studio, coming down there now is like, I don't know. Before I got tattoos, I had a whole different, I guess, opinion of how the tattoo world worked,
Well, and that's why
Completely different.
as heavily tattooed people, and Fawn and I have talked about this several times. We've had whole episodes about it. We feel that it is our job and position as collectors and artists to go above and beyond and bring up the image to represent ourselves well, to speak properly when you're in public, to have manners, to not be disrespectful, to carry yourself a little bit higher than everybody else, because we've been under the microscope for so long, because we choose to decorate ourselves. Fuck off with every second of that. If you think I'm a different person because I like a picture, go somewhere. Like seriously. So when we're in public, I feel it is my job to be over polite, to hold the door, to say please, to make sure you say thank you, because
it's a funny struggle hanging out with Brian because he's one of those guys that's extra chivalrous, and it's awkward because like
people don't know what to do.
Well, he has a hard time with me opening the door.
Yeah, I get
He
it.
has a hard time. It's hard for me.
I like him.
It's hard for me because it's like, well, I was here first, Brian.
I'm not gonna wait on you to run up here and do this. No, I get it, and it's one of those like I really like the positive of we have an opportunity to represent ourselves better, and the people that carry that hold a special place to me. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You have an option, and the only option that you have is how you act. And if you're going to disrespect everybody else and make us all look bad because of the way that you're acting, you can fuck right off in my mind.
Right.
Well,
One thing that I did like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is like you guys said about meeting new people and that, and how, you had your parents have preconceived notions of tattoos and that. I come from the same background. And, and when I started getting back into this 11 years ago and started going to conventions and that, you just realize how nice people are. I've met so many great people all through this. I countless friends now, lifelong friends for sure now. It's just great. I mean, I have to say that I haven't really found anyone that I would say that I don't like. Really, almost everyone in the industry I love, and it's been great. I've met some great people. I met you too at Detroit, and it's just great. It's a ride that I've enjoyed. It's probably one of the best times of my life.
It's a community I honestly never expected to be involved in. It had a lot to do with the continuation of being tattooed, because it was like, oh, there is a caliber to character of people in this community that does not exist anywhere else. And I'll soak that up. I'll soak it up. I love it.
Makes me
I've
feel
met
good.
some very smart people in this industry too. I
Same.
mean, because you have preconceived notions, I mean, artists are very intelligent people, but the public don't assume that, I guess,
Right.
Mhm.
especially tattoo artists. Let's be more specific. But Guy Atchison, brilliant guy, smart guy.
Mhm.
Russ Abbott, very smart guy. I mean, Megan's a smart girl.
I mean, you got to think these people that are making not just a living, but carving out a path for other people that are
Yes.
opening the shops and holding other people's heads up and saying, this is how you book. This is how you price your time accordingly. This is how you make a living out of doing something that you love. Use your hands and use your skills and make money.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that you guys need to be buying $1 million houses. That's not the point. But you know how many people would kill to have a passion job?
A lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
And
that's
all of the artists were so nice. Like
Yeah,
you
no,
said, they
it's
were
incredible,
so nice.
like-
Every time somebody walked up, like you go 5 feet and people are like asking like, oh, I've been watching you all day. Like I've been watching, your artist all day. Can I look? Or like they come up and they're always so polite. And especially Fawn was working up on my hip. Every single person was like, hey, is it okay if I look? Which seems so odd to me, but I guess makes sense. They're asking, is it okay to invade your personal space?
Yep.
Even though it's on display, which is
There's no pipe and
Most-
drape. You didn't have a choice. It was very
That's true.
hard to
You know what
ask.
I mean? Most, honestly, most people like wouldn't be that considerate. Like if you go to
Right.
any other really convention, like they wouldn't have been that considerate. And I don't think there was a single time somebody didn't come up and ask first if they could see what was happening. And I'm
You don't get that consideration in general public most of the time. I've
right.
been standing in line at the grocery store and literally had the 65-plus-year-old woman in front of me start lifting up my short legs to follow my tattoo up my leg. I
yeah.
said, ma'am, this is about to be a show you don't want to see.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize what she was physically doing and uncover. I'm like, hey, whoop.
Yep. No.
No, thank you.
No.
I'm not getting tickets for this. I'm not
Yep.
handing out little cards to my neighbors. No.
You got your
On-
dollars ready?
On St. Patrick's Day, this lady behind us at the bar saw my sleeves and I was in a tank top and she just started lifting the back of my shirt up. And Jen looked at her and was like, can I help you? And she was like, oh, I'm just checking out his tattoo. And I was like, okay. All right.
Wait till they start grabbing your wrist and turning you like a fucking Vanna White. Let me look at your arm. You don't know me. You don't
Oh
touch
no, I'll
me.
be on the shuttle from I got tattooed in Vegas. I'm on this sleeve. Just got it done the day before on the shuttle. And this old lady goes, wow, that's a nice tattoo. And
Hey.
grabbed hold of it. And I was like, what are you doing?
So, ma'am, we're related now. That's a little bit of me in your fingernail.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I guess in closing, young lady, I super appreciate your attitude. I told Jen, you're one of my favorite people now because you have the same attitude that I have. And people just wouldn't expect it, And then obviously Jen and Dur were chill and just do their thing. And I very much appreciated this event. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun that you were clowning and dancing with me too. Usually people just think I'm this crazy white girl over there that doesn't belong, but
No,
we
there's a
didn't
group.
belong together.
Thank you, Leg. I'll do this. Thank you, Leg.
No, it speaks volume of character of everybody that was involved that could walk into an event that nobody was particularly excited about once they got there and looked around. And you guys could have been sourpusses all weekend and thrown hissy fits and been mad, but you chose to elevate your mind and think about what was your surroundings, and you chose to have a good time.
Mhm.
You took that opportunity. You could have pitched the whole time, which probably still happened, but you took the time to have fun and you made it an event that you will remember forever.
Yep.
And that's what's important.
Yeah, we're gonna always have stories about this.
So we're
have,
gonna start seeking out shitty tattoo conventions
How about
so we can all
yes?
bond.
Yes.
Can we go on a first year show tour?
Oh gosh.
Can we do first year shows?
Oh man, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Maybe a couple a year. Maybe I got a couple a year in me.
I am hard in because you know what? If you're prepared for that, you know what's in your book bag?
I think we
Snacks.
just became best friends. I'm in.
Hey guys, I'm in the background, but my very first show ever was Hell City back in the day.
Nice.
So I kind of started off with high expectations, let's just say.
Yeah.
It was a
wrong.
horrible
You
show.
did-
It was
you
the
did it-
worst show I ever went
Yeah,
to.
you did it all wrong. You got to start in the slums.
Yeah.
You did.
this
I
year
think
we
one
all-
of the most interesting shows I've ever been to was in Brooklyn. It was there was like some sort of hostage situation across the street at one point.
It's easy.
Yeah, where we
Wow.
were looking through the windows to see if you could see the gunman or something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
So yeah, there are some interesting, but you can handle things anyway. There's a lot of different ways you can handle it, but there's a difference between like something crazy happening and like bad preparation.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, like I keep saying, all the potential for a good event was there. It just didn't quite, the pieces just didn't quite fall.
What you say,
into
3 more
place.
months?
Yeah, 3 more
3
months.
more
This could have been a
months.
great show. Yeah. But all right, guys. Well, I think we've had a fantastic conversation. I think we touched on all the important parts of the weekend. I believe, if I'm understanding right, I think there's going to be a gathering of Gabe and Derb and maybe some other promoters next Wednesday, and they're going to talk about like basically everything we've talked about today from the collector's point of view, and I guess my point of view is in collector and artist. But Wednesday at noon, there's going to be a discussion about basically this event and the future of conventions, like
How
from the
not to
promoter's
repeat.
point of view. Yeah, like basically, I think it's gonna. I think this event has started a whole community-wide discussion on what the
We can do
motivation-
better, guys.
Absolutely, that's
Artists can vet a promoter. I mean, that's the other thing. You need to vet who you're going to yourself.
Yep. Well,
You know?
and we got to have a system for that within the community. Like, how do you know
Yes.
who's who? How do you know, like, this guy might not be a tattooer, but he is passionate about the community and he knows and understands the community? Or this guy might not be a tattooer, but he's married to a tattooer, or she's married to a tattooer, or, whatever the situation is. Like, there are some people that I just don't think are ever going to understand the industry if they're not in it. But if you're close to it and you understand, then it's a lot easier to wrap your head around the special needs of our community.
Successfully.
Mhm.
And it can be done successfully. Yalzi is the perfect example.
Yeah, he's the first example that I like to use of somebody who's not a tattooer, but like he eats, sleeps, and breathes tattoos like the rest of us. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
He
he
does.
loves this industry as much as any of us. So
And that show in Puerto Rico that he puts on is up there with House City and
I've only
all the
heard
other
great
ones.
things.
Oh, it was so smoothly run. It was so nice to be there. Great venue. Everything was there for the artists. I mean, he just ran a tight ship, and it showed.
So what we're saying is a lot of people have done this successfully, and there's no reason to fuck it up this bad without asking for help.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I'm just making sure we're all on
Yep.
the same page.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
that also considering the amount of conventions is happening every single weekend in the world, there's so many other choices, and it's like, a lot of these things get kind of meddled together.
Mhm.
Really, it's really hard because they might be posted or promoted by the same people, but at the end, like you should have like some sort of checklist where you can go in and there's clues, before you book anything, like the lineup,
rating.
the location, the rating. Yeah.
If we could rate them like 3, 4, and 5 star. If it doesn't get 3 stars, don't, like, as a collector, you shouldn't even be seeking an event like that out.
Can we put together a year of travels and then ratings and then start like Google reviewing collectors, like
We could probably-
conventions? I say collectors and
but here's the thing, though, is that this isn't the first convention that's gone off horribly. Like 3 years ago before COVID, let's talk about the one in Mexico that got canceled at the very last second.
I honestly,
Artists booked on their way down and they canceled it mid-flight for some of those people.
It's insane.
that would be the only other worst case scenario is if the event like actually got canceled. And there was, I think that was a reality in this situation. I think it barely went down as it was. So that's one of those things. We just don't want these embarrassments in our community that we work so hard for and we care for. I know this isn't the only one. This is just the only one that I've seen that happened like this with my own eyes,
Mhm.
but anywho, we're definitely going to be having more discussions about this. Brian and Jen got to get back to their kids.
Yes, I got to get my son ready.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time
Great to hang out
join
with you
us.
guys. Good to see you again.
Thanks for surviving Tattoo Fire Fest.
Buttons on the way.
Todd, my friend, we need to catch up soon, brother. I feel like I haven't seen you
Yeah,
forever.
All
I
right.
know.
Well, we'll talk to everybody again next week and be safe. Safe travels, guys. Todd,
We'll
keep
see you back at
warm up
home.
in Michigan.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace, guys.
Take care, everybody.